I don't hear myself through my headphones. Yes, man. Like, I feel real good about this right now.
Pay attention, because you are now listening to Permission to Speak Freely.
So, just don't expect professionalism
At all.
You know what I mean?
Zero.
That's
Zero.
That's the first part.
Yeah.
So if you like, oh man, they
curse
probably,
here.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
most definitely.
do you? If you didn't curse, I would it would be remiss. You know what I'm saying? But hey, so first off, I do want to kind of talk about and start this off the right way. It's a lot of people that I know that I've served with in the military that don't know what's next. You know what I'm saying? Some people do 20 years not knowing what's next. Some people do 3 years, 4 years, get out and just lost. You know what I'm saying? Don't at all know what's next. So, well, what I wanted to do and what I, always want to do with this podcast is talk to people that I know are people that we see that, was in the same position as some of these people, but figure something out. You know what I'm saying? Figure something out, made it happen, grind it. And man, and who we're talking to for me is always like somebody that was grinding, focused on herself, getting things done, propelling, doing it the right way, making it happen. Definitely an alpha, like a super duper alpha type A personality. So before I do anything, I start off with the name just so we kind of clear, right? So we talking to attorney India Rios, which makes me happy and smile because we came from the trenches. You know what I'm saying? So for the junior sellers that's listening, a lot of y'all sometimes y'all look at like, khaki and stuff like khaki, been khaki. Chiefs been Chiefs, seeing Chiefs, been seeing Chiefs. But we all started somewhere. So for me, we're talking to somebody that I started out with, that I was an E1, with on a ship together. We might have.
What ship you guys on? You said the trenches, so I'm assuming you guys, was putting in some work somewhere, man. But I know electricians and stuff don't do it.
I was putting in work.
You know what I mean? So
I was putting in work.
I
was putting in that work, man. Like I said, India, she always knew how to work and get things done. You know what I'm saying? My dumb ass was on the deck plates getting it done.
Man.
But no, a bunch of respect, man. We went through a whole, like, I just remember that young Navy life, like that. She was a big fixture in my young Navy life, and it's good to just sit back and watch people from the sidelines do things. You know what I'm saying? So first off, I want to say, hey, thanks for joining us, India. We appreciate you here. And whatever Damon got to say, what you got, Damon?
No, the same thing, man. I'm just glad, I'm glad you got your computer up, tell you the truth, man, because we were looking forward to having you on the pod, man. And women of color, period, man, with energy and motivation and got something to say and something to say. That's the biggest thing, man. Like, I like it, man. Let's get started, man. Let's do it.
All right. So before we get too crazy and starting it, I do want to say we just recently had something happen, right? The Kyle Rittenhouse, the case is over. Were you keeping up with that at all?
I was keeping up with it a little bit. I'm not surprised at all by the outcome of that case. To be honest with you, I was keeping up with it peripherally, but not as much as I have with the Ahmaud Arbery.
Yeah, it's just crazy that both of those cases happening at the same exact time, and my, as just a black, guy navigating, they like closely related somewhere in my heart. You know what I mean? I can't. What'd you say?
I think so as well.
Yeah. Now, and I can't lie and say that with this Kyle Rittenhouse case, I can't lie and say I didn't find out way more information about the case, like after everything happened, like after the trial and everything like that. As I look back after the verdict, I start like really looking. I'm like, oh man, like this. Honestly, I didn't even know who the victims were.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can't lie, and I know it's a lot of people in our country that don't, because I'm watching people divided, stuff like that. It's crazy out there. It looked like the OJ trial's over again.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You start to see people come out the woodwork. They're like, damn, you ain't posted on Facebook in like 6 years, man. But what I noticed is that a lot of people didn't know anything about, who he shot. Like some people thought he was up there shooting black people that was out there protesting, and that wasn't the case. You know what I mean? It was some different stuff. I don't want to talk too much about the opinions about it and stuff like that, just because I don't like see this as a platform at this moment right now to talk about it. I would love to hear your thoughts about it sometime offline. But it's just crazy to see how America could be so divided, and it's a whole bunch of facts versus a whole bunch of how people feel and what people think about stuff like that. Now, as a lawyer, do you feel like you feel like it was a just case with the jury and stuff like that, with the demographics of the jury?
Honestly, no. And I feel like a lot of things that were happening that never normally happen. Like defendants don't get to lottery pick who gonna be on their jury. It's a process called voir dire. That's how we select jurors. And we want to, because the jury is almost like the first step of gamesmanship
Yeah.
in litigation, whether it's criminal or civil, right? I want to get jurors on here that are going to see things the way I see them, that are going to understand the picture the way that I'm painting it, right? So you get to ask these people questions and eliminate and qualify jurors that way. And you kind of get to shape your audience in a sense. And it's gamesmanship back and forth between yourself and the state or whomever. So just to have that portion of it eliminated in itself, he was already starting off much better than many other would, right? And then in the history, I'm not that familiar with Wisconsin court history, right? I'm licensed in Illinois, but I think that in the history books, there probably isn't one case where that happened. Like this is the first time that that's ever happened. This is an unprecedented thing. You know what I mean? Nobody's ever lottery picked their jurors before, or the way that the judge almost, I don't want to say like that the judge was testifying, but the fact that the judge was like, it's not on the judge to bring motions to dismiss specific charges, right? The judge is really there kind of mediating the arguments between the two adversaries. So for a judge, without there being a motion brought up by defense counsel to dismiss X charge or motion to dismiss this or that charge, for the judge to just openly say, I don't think you've met your burden here for this charge, so I'm going to drop it. That's also something that really doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
It's for me to tell them that they didn't meet their burden, for us to do the argument, and then for the judge to say, yeah, motion is granted or motion is denied for X grounds, right? But for the judge to be like, oh, I don't think that you've met your burden for this gun charge.
Yeah.
That's not something that normally happens. You know what I mean? Even to the point where I've been in court before as a very new lawyer. I've been in court before, and the judge has kind of looked to me like, counsel, almost like motion, like are you gonna say something? You know what I mean? Like kind of giving me like the hint, like it's your time. You know? So, but never has a judge taken it upon themselves to motion it for me.
Yeah, that judge was active. That was an active judge. Like the last time I saw a judge that active was like a TV show called Your Honor. I don't know if anybody saw Your Honor, but that judge was he was actively trying to sway the jury, the judge in the show Your Honor, because he had a result that he wanted the jury to come to.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be looking out for the appeal on this, to be honest, because it was a lot of things that happened. I wouldn't be surprised if the state pursues their appeal and tries to challenge a lot of grounds. Even the fact that they weren't allowed to call the people victims or protesters or whatever. So generally speaking, in trials, you're not allowed to do things that are gonna put the defendant in a dark light in front of the jury, right?
Yeah.
But it's standard practice that the state is calling him the defendant, and the state is calling the people that were injured victims.
Yeah.
And it's standard practice for the defense to be calling him Mr. Rittenhouse, and for the defense to be calling the people who were injured complaining witnesses, right? Yeah. That's like the standard verbiage that we use in those cases. So for the judge to be like, I'm not going to let you call them complaining witnesses. I'm not going to let you call them victims. You can only call them, I don't know, rioters or something of that nature, is what I believe that came out. That's just another layer, because that's painting the picture. You don't think about how those little words is kind of like, painting that narrative. If I keep calling you defendant, that keep giving you that connotation of guilty, versus me humanizing you by calling you by your name. Yeah. So I think stuff like that all of that stuff together definitely played a role. And that's why I also feel very strongly that there is going to be an appeal on this.
Yeah, and then the only other part I want to touch on that is my thoughts about like seeing rap sheets of the victims. In this case, they were victims; they got murdered, right? But seeing rap sheets at the end of it all, and seeing people say like, "Oh yeah, you know, this person took pedophile or this person or that person like off the streets," because there's a couple things for me that it does. It negates like for me what I thought the intention of the justice system was, and that's to like remediate. You know what I'm saying? Remediate, rehabilitate, and stuff like that. People. So if these people got these cases, you know, on a jacket or whatever like that, that would mean that they had a fair trial. That certain things happen. They might already had some jail time and stuff like that. And I got ex convicts, you know, in my family, and they all, if they go out to a riot, they don't all intend to do things that they got arrested for 20 years ago and stuff like that. So, now some people have ill intentions as well, but I just hate that when we see people, get killed. I think when George Floyd, was killed by the cops, people started bringing up like his dirty secrets and stuff like that. And I always think that's weird because the action that happened first is the person dying. Like you don't know the rap sheet. It wasn't like Kyle Rittenhouse, like had like he was like Batman and he had a list of like just different things that people did and he was going taking out these villains like it was whatever it was, the self-defense stuff and stuff like that. That's I'm not gonna get into that, but 3 people got killed that we didn't know about they fucking past before they got killed. You know what I'm
And
saying?
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think that you're 100% right in the way that you're looking at it from your vantage point. But I think that when your defense is self-defense,
yeah,
that is standard class A. We dragging all victims.
oh yeah, for sure.
That is just what it is. You got anything in your past, I'm bringing it up. You was violent, you was this, because that's what you're going to do in a self-defense.
Yeah, that's going to
So
help.
I feel like in self-defense, that's like the only way you could make these arguments. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he had argued like that he didn't do it or something like that, those arguments wouldn't have been able to come in.
Yeah, but it didn't only happen with them. It happened with George Floyd. It happened with Trayvon Martin. It happened with Mike Brown. Like everything Trayvon Martin did as a kid. Oh yeah, man. Him and his brother got into a fight one day. Like y'all pulling up everything on these people that got killed. So we can't look at these people, and not as much in this Kyle Rittenhouse thing. That's and I want. That's why I say I really want to get away from that. But when it comes to some of these other people, like, yo, all right, we can't say nothing now because Trayvon Martin did this when he was 12 years old. We can't say nothing now because Mike Brown stole something from a store. I stole from a store before. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, a misguided kid. You know what I'm saying? I don't deserve to get killed. That's just my thoughts on that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you 100%. I do think that there is a lot of gamesmanship that's being played on behalf of these attorneys when it comes to bringing in the past, bringing in unrelated character evidence, character witnesses, things of that nature. But overall, I guess my true message is don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yeah.
Because it's the game. This is how the game is played, right? So everybody that's involved, that's doing what they're doing as far as bringing up their past and all of these crimes and all of these cases where these innocent Black people have been murdered. Because I don't want to like mix my words with that. Innocent Black people are being murdered. That's what's been happening here, right? But in these situations where that has been happening, this is how the game is truly played. It's not like the courts are allowing this special exception to criminalize these people. This is how the game is played.
It's part of the process.
You're just only seeing it because it's happening to us all the time, and we on the receiving end of it. But this is truly how it's played.
Yeah, it's all par for the course, right? All right. So, hey, we started off real hot. You know what I'm saying? So, if you're a listener, we got this thing. Start off hot. All right. So we're gonna go back. We're gonna start off at the beginning of India Rios. Let's start off just where you from?
I am from the south side of Youngstown, Ohio. And I had to put the south side part. And you would think that's kind of crazy because I don't even think Youngstown is on most maps. But I'm from the south side of Youngstown, Ohio. It's a small town, like a steel mill town, kind of reminds you of like a Pittsburgh, Cleveland type environment. And that is where I guess my origination story comes from. Damo and I served on the USS Veligov. I remember you had asked us that earlier. Where did we
Yes,
serve?
yes.
We served on the USS Veligov together. I joined the Navy right after high school.
All right, so let's stay there real quick, just real quick before the Navy. Is it like because what I when I like read up or I watch movies and stuff about steel mill towns and stuff like that, it's normally like one of these things that like people don't leave.
You know, it is a lot of people that's still there. I feel like when I go home, for especially for home to be as desolate and run down as it truly is, most of the people that I went to high school with still live in Youngstown, Ohio. Most of the people that like been living there, my father won't leave. My father still lives there, even though I've offered him numerous times to come live with me in Chicago. He insists upon staying. So it's definitely one of those places where people don't leave. But I was desperate to leave.
Yeah,
Is it a
yeah,
I
background
was
thing?
desperate.
Was it a background thing, or you just wanted to go?
Nah, I feel like it was definitely a background thing. So just to give you like, I guess, a large overview of my story, I'm first generation everything. First generation Navy, college graduate, high
Mm,
school graduate. I'm first generation anything you could imagine,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
So I grew up with my mother and my father are separated. My mother does not have a high school diploma. She used to work as a nurse's aide, like on and off, but her primary occupation for real was like selling drugs for
yeah.
my entire childhood. When I was just before I started going to high school, my mother went to prison. So that was like a major transition in my life. I was in foster care for a while before my father could get me. Then my father finally did get me, but then I was just so unruly because the environment that I had came from was so different from his structured household. I couldn't be kept in there. So I was often a runaway and back in foster care, out of foster care. I had a lot going on. Uh I graduated I don't know how, by the grace of
Hmm.
God, because I really wasn't that tapped in with school. But I did go. I
Yeah,
would go to school quite regularly, even in like when I was like, because I feel like the whole year of 17, I was homeless. So my whole 12th grade year of high school, I was just staying here, there, everywhere, or whatever. And I would go to school every day.
yeah, yeah. Well, I
Even
mean,
though nobody was making me
yeah,
go. Like
school could
nobody
be
was
a
making me go, but
social,
I would go.
yeah, and it could be a social place. Like school could be a place where you just socialize with your homegirls, your boys and stuff like that. So I could see that.
And and
Yeah,
and
and I
also
feel
it's
like
for that breakfast.
I was just about to say for them guaranteed meals, 2 free meals for
Yeah,
sure. I'm getting them, so I would definitely be there, pretty faithfully. And that's not to say like that my childhood was like that bad. Like I have really good memories. You know, my mom, she did her best. You know what I'm saying, with the means that she had. She was tired of being poor. I was tired of
hmm,
being poor too. So it was very refreshing and energizing when we had all of this influx of drug money coming into the house, and we can have cable now, and our phone, we got a
yeah,
house phone now, and we got groceries all the time. So I know a lot of times people think that people who be selling drugs, everybody living like this kingpin lifestyle. And that's really just not the case, because we wasn't
yeah,
living like that at all. We was surviving,
Yeah, yeah.
so I think that it's just different. So I definitely feel like when I got the opportunity to join the Navy, I was looking to like really get away
yeah,
from the system and the cycle that I was in. And then I was also just kind of like looking for a job for real. I didn't want to be at Burger King or McDonald's. I didn't have no real skills. My getting into the Navy story is kind of crazy in itself. I took the ASVAB one day because I wasn't prepared for a biology test.
hmm,
So I was supposed to take a test in another class, but they was like, you can skip all your classes
yeah,
if you go to the library and take this test. So I
yeah,
was like, the library, it is. Like that's
Oh yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
I went, took the ASVAB. And it's so crazy because I had took it and then I had never thought about like joining the military was never on my mind.
yeah. It's just like
And
yeah,
the day that I graduated from high school, me and some of my friends was at the gas station smoking weed in our caps and our gowns, and it
hmm,
was a petty officer there, man in a white uniform, obviously to me at that time. But he approached us like, "What are y'all gonna do now that y'all graduated from high school?" Obviously, he was doing his job, and everybody kind of had plans but me. People was like, "Oh, I'm going to work here, or I'm about to be a nurse's aide." That's where I'm from. Like, that's really big. like nurses' aid culture. It's so many nurses' homes. Everybody like got a
Everybody in
program.
scrubs.
Yeah, everybody got scrubs. They got a program. You go to high school half a day, go work at a nursing home, get paid a full wage, And I understand what they're trying to do because they really are trying to transition people who really a lot of times don't have anywhere to go or any idea about what they're going to do into a job, into like a functioning lifestyle of some variety. But I really just had absolutely no interest in that. No interest whatsoever. And I had seen too much fast money, which really affected my life. You know what I'm saying? Like I had just seen like I could really make a lot of money with a little effort. So I want to find ways for that.
So you had you had like a hustler mentality, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I
and
would
that's
say
who I remember. That's the you that I know, you to be, a hustler mentality. All right, so the man in the white suit, approach you, and then you rogered up. You like, yeah.
Oh yeah. He was like, you should join the Navy. And he was like, yeah. He was like, you could join the Navy. We gonna give you like $1,000 a month. You gonna have dinner. You gonna have this. He was selling me the dream. He made it sound so good. He made it sound so good to me that the next day I caught the bus to the mall where the recruiting office was at to like learn more. Like I just showed up at the office during business hours. Like, hey, I'm here to talk more about this money.
Yeah, because there's an opportunity.
Go time.
I'm here to talk more about what it takes to get this bag. Yeah. So, and and the guy, he was really helpful. Petty Officer Marino, I'll never forget him. He talked to my dad. My dad left work because I was such a troubled child. And I was 17. So that's a fun aspect. I was 17. So he realized I was old enough, but I needed parental consent. We called my dad. My father left his job in the middle of the day.
I'm ready.
Get her out of here. Let's go.
Hey, so I got a question though, even before we get to the Navy, so you left mom and you moved with dad, right? Was it just dad, or did dad have like other kids and stuff like that?
So I'm my father's youngest child. I have a sister and a brother. They both like 10 or 12 years older than me. So it was my father, but it was his wife. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have any children that are my age. So her child was grown at the time as well. But it was my father, his wife, and his wife's mom. Yeah. It was really a culture shock. I'm not gonna lie. It was just to being supervised like that all the time. Yeah. Like my mom used to be in the wind for real. Like I could come and going, having guests on the regular, you know what I'm saying? Catching little plays here and there, maybe, like anything. I could be doing whatever it is that I want to do. My mother not really tripping, as long as my mother always made me go to school. As long as I wake up the next day and go to school, my life is my life. How I'm living it, that's my business for real. You know what I mean? So being with my father was like, oh, you got to be home. Come home directly after school. If you want to go somewhere else, you need to ask us. Why? Why do I need to ask? Why do we have all of these requirements?
It's crazy because I think about men, and I'm not a father yet, but I think about just if I was a man, just in that predicament, if I'm a man and my daughter comes and like she needs some straightening, right? She needs a little bit of straightening. And like that's a crazy dynamic because we speak different, men and women, in my opinion, from my eyes, we speak different languages, so trying to hone my daughter in her teenage years, older teenage years, trying to hone her in and like kind of give her some enlightenment and stuff like that. I really don't. I'm just thinking about my nephews and nieces and how much easier it is for me to grab my nephew, by the shoulder, around her arm, put my arm around him, and this, and how it translates versus me trying to do that with one of my nieces, So was it hard, when your dad was talking to you?
It was so hard. It was so hard for him. And it was hard because I was disrespectful. And I'm not glamorizing it at all. I was really, really disrespectful. I really did. Like, I feel like I was raising myself in my mother's house. Right. Yeah. So when I came from my mother's house where I was raising myself, you really couldn't tell me nothing. I was real strong-headed, strong-minded at a very young age, like 15, 16. I had solid, no, this is how it works because I know. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you can't tell me anything for real. And you can't hold anything over my head. So, like, me being raised in a situation where, like, I remember I got my first cell phone. And I was happy to have this cell phone. But then I realized, like, oh, every time they want to control me. They want to take this phone away from me. Like they using this phone to control me. And I can't be controlled by no phone. So what do? Give me that phone. I done threw the phone up against the wall, broke it into 1,000 pieces. Now take it.
Yeah.
Have it forever. You know what I'm saying? Like I was that type of child.
Yeah.
It was really horrible. I feel so bad for my stepmother. Looking back, my stepmother, Migdalia Vargas, I sent her a bomb Christmas gift every year. I sent her a birthday gift. I sent her a Mother's Day gift every single year. Her and my father not even married no more. They've been divorced for a long time. And I really show her as much love as I possibly can because I could not imagine putting clothes on the back of the most disrespectful child in the world, getting the hair done of the most disrespectful child in the world, and somebody who will be quick to tell you, you're not my mom. I don't have to listen to you.
Yeah.
You don't tell me nothing. You know what I mean? Like you, for somebody like that, it's to the point. And I'm gonna tell you, I think at one point my stepmother, she had got so upset with me that she had slapped me in my face. And then I beat her up. Right. And it was wrong. I was wrong for that. I was definitely wrong. But like, that's the type of dynamic that we was having in that household, to where they was really trying to tell me what to do, really trying to put me in a child's place. And I was regularly bucking. I was stealing their car on a regular basis. They didn't even know I could drive. Like I was doing all types of things on a regular basis that I truly didn't have any business doing. And they like dealt with that. Even when it was time when I was in foster care, I was in foster care because I refused to come back.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, I'm done with them. I'm staying here. I could be in foster care. I could be in the group home. You know what I mean? Like that was like the mentality that I had. Like I don't gotta listen to them. I don't gotta listen to nobody. I'm all I got for real. You know, like, and that's how I was really moving through the world. So it was real hard. My father had a long, hard conversations with me.
Yeah, a lot of
But
them joints.
one thing I could say about my dad is he never gave up on me. He didn't. Like, he would never give up on me. I'll be in trouble. I got caught driving with no license, driving their car with no license that I wasn't even supposed to have. I got pulled over. It was like a whole situation. My father made sure I got my license. He still taught me how to drive so I could be ready for my next court date. Like, I was in foster care in the group home. He still came for his visits, still kept his visitation. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he didn't want me to be in the group home. I was choosing to be there, but he would still like pull up on me regularly, check in with me regularly. So I always got to give him a lot of credit for that. The fact that he never gave up. As disrespectful and as unruly as I was, he was determined.
Yeah.
To just keep trying to like help me grow, help me see things. So
I got a question for you. I'm assuming that. What's up?
No, I was gonna remind her. I mean, she said something about that cell phone, and I was saying to myself, "Yeah, man, that's how I control my kids, man. They do something, man. I grab that cell phone, man. Let me get that at you, man."
They gonna take that thing and throw it
down on the ground in your face and start stomping on it.
Take this.
Yeah, they got iPhone 12 too. I've been a little upset about that.
Yeah. So you know what my thing is? I'm thinking that. So up to this point right now, you still haven't had like a reality check as far as a come to Jesus moment, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Nothing.
And I mean, now eventually, do you have one?
I wouldn't say that I ever truly had a reality check or a come to Jesus moment. I think that life just kept pushing me back down, and I just kept getting back up. And every time I got up, I would get up a different way.
Okay.
If that make any sense, I move a little bit different. Yeah. Every time I get into a situation, I find a little bit of a different way to finesse.
So it's like growing pains, like growing.
Yeah, pains. Like growing. It was more like growing pains the whole way through.
Okay. Yeah. So now we got you. I got you at the recruiting station.
I'm at the recruiting station. I showed up at that recruiting station on a Monday. I remember not 2 Mondays later, I was in the Navy.
Okay, boot camp.
Yeah, it was fast. It was so fast because I had already taken the ASVAB, so I didn't need to go to MEPS for that, right? And I didn't even realize it. I went through a little bit of like, you know, they make you do some like pre-PRT type stuff.
Yeah, the medical stuff.
A little bit like that. One thing I'll say, and because I do want people, I like to be as transparent as possible. One thing I will say is another thing that almost kind of like stopped me from getting into the Navy was that I had got pregnant. in my last year of high school, I had got pregnant. I had decided to have an abortion. I felt like I wasn't ready to be a mom. I definitely wasn't ready. I know for a fact that I did the right thing. But I had got pregnant and I had an abortion. And the fun fact is, if you have an abortion or you have a baby, you got to wait 6 months to join the Navy, right? So my recruiter had put me up on game, just asked me if I was okay, if I was having any complications, told me to go ahead and lie.
Yeah.
So I went on ahead and dropped the lie. He also prepped me for that moment of truth too. Like they're gonna give y'all that moment of truth.
Don't say nothing. I was prepped for that too.
Budge. The only way they're gonna if you tell them.
When they do that, you're gonna have to leave.
You're gonna have to leave. That's exactly.
I thought they was. I was so young and dumb. I thought they was killing people. You know what I'm saying? Like,
this
dude
man
is gone forever. He done lied about the military. He's gone forever.
So he had prepped me for that, and I had been failing drug tests. At this time in my life, I have been smoking weed, so I have been failing drug tests for that. But then I had also been failing them because I used to be in the streets, like on my little bit, not never on some, I'm like a kingpin type shit, but on my pick up girl, bag up, you know what I'm saying? Make a run. So I would have things in my pores that was coming out in my system, and I couldn't for the life of me figure out why I kept failing them drug tests. Because I had really stopped smoking weed.
Yeah, you was.
So I'm like, why do I keep failing these drug tests? You know what I'm saying? I'm getting bagger high and things of that nature, and I don't realize it. So my recruiter finally broke down and bought me one of them expensive drug tests, so we could like see what I was popping for. Because I kept telling him like, no, I ain't been smoking no weed. So he brought me the good test, and then he was like, yeah, you got to quit all those jobs. You got to quit all those jobs. I'm like, how am I going to survive? You might believe you just got to quit those jobs or whatever. So and at this time, like I said, I was homeless, but where I'm from, if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, you can't sleep. Ain't nowhere to stay for somebody who don't have a purpose for real.
Yeah.
So it was by the grace of God that I was able to go back and stay with my foster mom. So I was staying with a lady, even though I was out of foster care. She had let me come back and stay with her for free. So that
she wasn't getting no check.
Yeah, she wasn't getting no check for me. Okay. And she knew that I was trying to go to the Navy or whatever. I had talked to her about that. I explained to her, you know what I'm saying? I just need somewhere to stay for a couple of weeks. Because, other things leave your system faster. So I don't need a whole 30 days, but I need to be here. You know what I'm saying? And be like detoxing basically. And she let me stay. She made me clean a lot. That's what she was making us do when I was a foster kid there though. So I wasn't really, it wasn't no big deal. She kept a real clean house. Old black lady with a spotless home. So we was cleaning. I did that for a couple weeks and then I shipped off the MEPS.
Okay. So
or not to MEPS. I shipped off to boot camp. It was finally time for me to go to boot camp. That was my first airplane ride.
Yeah, that's crazy that for some of us, for some of us, that was our first. Fortunately for me, it wasn't. But, for some of us, even probably some of my listeners, the first time they rode a plane was first time they left their city. You know what I'm saying? Was going away.
Yeah, that was me. Most definitely was me.
Like that.
And I was kind of the same situation. I came in like 5 days after I graduated. So I was ready to go too. Deuces. I got to go. Yeah.
Even your last year, right? Your last year was a little similar too. Your last year of high school, right?
Yeah, I didn't want. Yeah, man. My last year was crazy too because my mom was, drugs and stuff in and out of prison. So I stayed by myself my whole senior year. It was just me. I had a house, like no lights, no nothing, but I had a house and water. But yeah, so I was in that school for breakfast and lunch every day. Didn't miss no school, player. Zero. So yeah.
That's crazy, man.
It's definitely,
man. That's crazy. That's crazy how the school lunch will get you in there.
Lunch gets you through. All right, so now we got you on a flight now, but before all this, like, cause I know what you were when I met you as far as your rate. But I picked my rate pretty much deliberation with my uncle and aunt. I was already an electrician before I joined the Navy. So I knew I was going to be an electrician, and there wasn't another rate, ever in question, right? I was like, all right, I'm going to go be an electrician. And then the beauty of that was they had a signing bonus, right? So I was fortunate enough to get a signing bonus. Now, you were undesignated, right, when you came in?
Yep, I joined the Navy as an undesignated deck seaman.
Okay. And was it a reason why you did?
My ASVAB score. So my ASVAB score wasn't high because remember, I took the test so I could skip that other test.
Yeah.
So I was just in there just bubbling. You know what I mean? Like I just showed up. I just bubbled bubble for the time period, put my head down, wake up for the next one. Bubble, put my head down, wake up, right? So my ASVAB score was really, really low. And the only rates that they was offering me was like ABF, ABH, ABE, BM, Undes.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I did come in Undes. But they definitely painted the picture. I didn't do any research, so I didn't know what it meant to be an undesignated dex seaman. And they painted the picture of like a dream, like you're gonna be shadowing other people doing their job until you figure out what job you want. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what they told me. You're gonna be watching other people work, basically, and then once you know which work you want to do, then you're gonna be able to go do that, right?
Like a swatch,
Same way,
pamphlet.
same.
Like, yeah, you could pick this one, you could pick this one.
Yeah, like every day I'm in
that.
the department.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's what I was told. You know,
you get on that bitch like, yeah, I want to work with the QMs today. Like, nah, you gonna be out here painting these walls for a couple weeks.
Damn right. Shit.
So I think one thing I will say though, it's a blessing that I joined the Navy like that, because it did give me the opportunity to know what I didn't like about the Navy, right? It gave me the opportunity to know what I didn't like about the Navy. And when it was time for me to pick a rate, I knew what things I wanted to make sure my rate wasn't responsible for, or my rate wasn't going to be doing. So I definitely think that it was helpful. But honestly, I feel like I was on some, I'm going to take what they give me. I'm trying to make a move. I'll figure it out later. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, I'll figure it out later. But right now, the bag. Secure the bag. Like, that is what the focus is. They told me I could take the test again later. I could change. And they told me that because I had that job, I would for sure be able to take the ASVAB again.
Yeah.
I would for sure be able to pick a different job if I didn't like whatever. Right. So that was a bonus because I was able to take the ASVAB again and I was able to pick a new job.
All right, so let's talk about boot camp real quick. Damon and I are remedial swim alumni, right? Right? Well, are you? Is that your alma mater too? Like,
y'all know my black ass was cool.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
That was like where all of the black people got to see each other almost. Like, we had like a whole like. It was all us.
Yeah.
It's like club pool, man. And it's crazy because while everybody else dealing with, the struggles of what they need to learn, what they need to do and get through so they could get through boot camp, we got that added struggle. Like, man, I got to figure out how to swim.
Yeah, man.
And my recruiter told me they was going to teach me. My recruiter was like, oh, they going to teach you how to swim. He didn't tell me they was going to push me off that diving board.
That board. Man. I'm like, I just got to jump.
But that didn't happen to me though. They didn't push me on. From the minute that we arrived, I knew, first of all, before we even talk about remedial swim, bitch, you doing too much. Sorry. Before we even talk about it, I was talking to my dog, y'all. Before we talk about remedial swim, just the culture shock that is boot camp when you first arrive. Like being in a room full of people in the first 30 minutes, you have been on the bus with these people, you don't know them like that. And I'm telling you, I was having a situation. I almost beat the lady up because I got a question, so I raised my hand. She's like, "Put your hand down, recruiter." I was like, "Who are you talking to?" Like, I done came out the lane. Like, nah. The lady had to snatch me back. Like, what did you need? What did you need in? Because I'm not. You need to watch her step.
Oh man.
So it was hard. It was hard for me. I was every day. I don't even want to. Like I would say what I want to say. Like, yeah, petty officer, I don't care. Like on a regular basis. So
was it just all women? Was it all women or were y'all co-ed?
We was in a co-ed division.
Okay.
So it wasn't all women. I was very, like I said, from day one, I was very, very feisty. Like I wasn't getting punked around, pushed around by these people to the point people had to like pull me off to the side. Like I had one black senior chief pull me off to the side and was like, I'm not y'all chief. Y'all didn't get assigned y'all chief yet. But I just want you to know or whatever. And he was from Pittsburgh too. I remember that about him. He like, I just want you to know, like, when you do get your chief, when your chief look at you, you're supposed to look away. Like, you're not supposed to stare down. Like, you're not supposed to look back at me. They're gonna want you to look away. They gonna like you shouldn't be like looking back. Like what you gonna do? You know what I'm saying? Like so you need to like want to scale some of that back a little bit, sis. You know what I'm saying? He was really trying to help me, but I was really beyond help for real. My boot camp experience was so crazy. I was going to the pool every single day. I joined the Navy. This is some funny stuff for y'all. This is just to give y'all a taste of how rough around the edges I was. When I joined the Navy, I had Keisha Cole colored hair. So like the front of my hair was like blonde and like the back of my hair was red. I had Keisha Cole colored hair right now. I should have cheated. Classic. So that's what they see. That's what this is what.
Oh, you
had. Oh, you went to boot camp with that.
Boot camp?
Oh shit!
I had Keisha Cole color hair on day
that
one.
That recruiter set you up too with that one, man.
He definitely did. But if he
so they washed it out.
They couldn't. It was permanent. I was like bleach blonde. Like it was nothing they could do. They had to just let it. They just had to leave me alone. Basically, there was nothing that they could do. They just had to like just deal with it. And that was like a hilarious like aspect of it. So I was super rough around the edges. I was having problems getting my clothes, just like in the initial when we first come through the thing. They had like set me off somewhere else. Like I know a lot of people I think was like all standing in them lines and they all got their clothes in them lines and they put all their clothes in them boxes in them lines.
Yeah.
That's not what happened to me because I was trying to fight the lady because she didn't want to let me ask my question and she had like screamed on me. They had like took my box and took me to another area, but it was some other recruits over there too that I guess had popped off. I was like, like that took me to another area, and it wasn't high pressure for me for like it was for a lot of people. Even when it was time for the haircut portion, they was like, you know, we like to cut your hair. Everybody gets a haircut. I know people was just getting a haircut. Like I was, that was
go through. You get pushed in.
Yeah, like people was just walking through. They was asking us. I guess we had did what needed to be done to make them feel like they needed to like tread a little softer. You know what I'm saying? Like let's talk to these people. We don't know you don't know where these people is coming from. Though, you know, like I finally made it through that. Got into my situation. Got into my division. But boot camp was just so crazy because I had like this one petty officer who I like hated anyway, but then he like made us put our hands in the toilet. Then I did one of those like
hands in the toilet for what?
Report. Well, because we was females, right? You're not allowed to put sanitary items in the toilet, and we kept having our head kept having clogging issues, and he had threatened us, and he had said, if I find another sanitary item in the toilet, I'm gonna make everybody put their hand in the toilet where the sanitary item is at, right?
Yeah, that's fucking crazy.
So he made us do that, and I was so angry about it. Like he had made us do that, so I had wrote a thing on him, one of them snitch sheets. So I had wrote a thing on him, and I signed it because I'm not anonymous, right? I signed it, like don't ever, and I'm never doing it again. Like, and if this is what it's gonna be like, send me home.
He
like,
he woke up and chose violence that day.
Yeah, man.
he chose violence.
Yeah,
like that's wrong. like he probably told his wife at home he was gonna do that. Like, I ain't doing with this shit. No,
he didn't know. He didn't know he was gonna be met with violence.
He didn't know who he was dealing with. He really didn't know who he was dealing with. And I feel bad for him because he definitely got that smooth 45-45 reduction in rate, red rope taken.
Yeah, he got in trouble for that, right?
Oh, yeah.
For hazing us. Danny B. Andrews open mastered him in front of my whole division.
Yeah.
And imagine that, though. That, like, because this my, like, first hour in the Navy. I didn't got somebody in trouble. I wasn't trying to get him in that much trouble. I wanted him to be in trouble though, but I didn't want him to be. He could have got put out.
Oh yeah.
Like his reduction because he would have been at like higher tenure. He could have got put out the Navy for that. And I didn't even realize that it was that deep or that was the type of thing that was about to happen. I didn't even.
You don't know.
Hazing. I just was like, I can't believe he made me do this. You know. So this is my only recourse. So I'm gonna take it.
Yeah.
The only recourse that I got for him is to write this letter because I can't fight these people. So I'm gonna write this letter, and I'm signing it because I'm not anonymous. I want him to know it was me.
Yeah. But you know what though? Thinking about that, I think that's how the Navy is changing. Boot camp is changing though. because things like that, you don't know people backgrounds. You can't just go like popping off on people and saying all this type of crap.
Yeah.
I can see that happening. Yeah.
And then they can't do nothing. You know, like it's not like if somebody do hit you, you're not supposed to hit them back. They can't jump you.
Yeah.
So you gotta kind of like de-escalate the situation some kind of way, because if somebody hits you, even if you know you could fight, or even if you could probably beat the person that hit you, if you hit them back, you done. Like it's almost like that's it for you. Then if y'all all jump them, like let's say this person get the best of you, so like your boys come over like, nah, this ain't about to happen to OS2. You know, some GSM3 come over, GSM2 come over, OS1 come through, they jump this, you know, recruit, and you know it's over for them. You know, you can't do stuff like that. So you gotta de-escalate the situation. Anything else from boot camp that you remember that was like significant?
I think that the best thing that happened to me in boot camp, that I will say probably was the most significant thing that did happen, was when I passed that swim test. And I remember the morning that I passed it, I remember going through the mess decks. They had like this little board that used to have like a inspirational quote on it every day. And I was going through the mess decks, and it had said, to get something you never had, you got to do something you never done. And that was the day I passed, because I was determined to do something I never done. When I got there, I was like, I just want to try. As soon as we got there, you know, they was ready to take us back to like the little
try to do some stuff,
area where we do our training. I was like, no, I'm just ready to try. I'm just ready to try. I just want to see what's gonna happen. And I remember when I jumped off the pool, I remember it's so crazy how like I feel like God be just putting different people in different places, because it was a black seal in the water. And when I jumped off of the thing or whatever, I was doing all types of crazy stuff, just anything to like make it. But I had found myself in this position where I was like on my back and my arms was at my side, but I was only fluttering them like this much. Like, but that was keeping me afloat. It was exhausting for my arms, but it was keeping me afloat. And I remember the person that was in the water was like, you need to do your arms this way or whatever, and that's how you gonna get it. And then I was just like ignoring him. Like ignoring him. And then at one point, he said, you're gonna fail. And I was like, fuck you. And I kept doing what I was like, fuck you. Fuck what you talking about. I'm gonna pass. I'm gonna make it through this. I'm gonna make it. Watch. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show all of y'all. Right? So like at that point, like we arguing, but I'm still doing my arms just this much. But he was into it though. And he was like, recruit, you make it to the end of this pool, I'm gonna stamp your card. You ain't gonna have to go to none of these. You make it to the end of this pool, recruit, you getting out of here today. I promise. Why he say that? I was going even harder. I got to the end. He stamped my card. I ran into that locker room. I didn't even change my clothes, because I didn't feel like what he was doing was truly allowed, and that maybe somebody else was going to like pull me back and make me go to the float area or whatever. So I was like, I don't even want to run no risk of that. So I just snatched my uniform up and I ran out of the pool barefoot in my swimsuit, holding my clothes. Like, I got to get up out of here with my card. Like, it's time for me to go. So I think that that's probably one of the best moments of my life for real, because overcoming that hurdle really put me on the map.
Yeah. That's kind of what happened to me.
Made me believe in myself.
That kind of happened to me too, though. He told me that, hey, go to one end and come back. I don't care how you do it, how you get there. You go that end and come back, and you good to go. And that's what I did, man. On my back too, though. I was on my back. Yep.
So y'all both did
the whole time. Time.
No, you must have been doing that for all the people for real. At the end, it was people like a week or two away from graduation. Like, all right, if you could just do this one.
So y'all ain't prone float?
Nothing.
Oh no,
nothing. But see, I'm kind of like in her position. He told I went in the next week. I went in, and he just said, "Hey, if you get to that end and back, you good." And that's what I did. I got that end and back. Done.
Prone float. That was the prone float was the word. Like this 5 minutes. Like, you know, like this 5
ain't no way I was.
Yeah. I'm happy that I'm happy that I ain't have to go through that, because I don't know if I would have. I don't know if my story would be what my story is right now. If I'd have had to get that time over there, I don't know if it would have really worked out for me.
So how close were you to that? Were you really close to like battle stations when you finished?
Yeah, they had made me. They had tried to make me call home to let them know that I wasn't about to graduate. I was supposed to go have that phone call or whatever. I called my homegirl. I didn't call nobody in my family. I was like, oh, this is a free opportunity for a phone call, because wasn't nobody coming to my graduation anyway. I didn't have anybody coming to graduation. I didn't need to call nobody and tell them to cancel their plane ticket. Nobody was on their way.
That's wild.
I called my friend I hadn't talked to in months.
Yeah.
We chopped it up. We laughed a little bit. They made me get off the phone because they realized that I wasn't sad and giving a sad conversation. Like,
So nobody came to your graduation?
uh-uh.
So what happened
Like,
after boot camp? Did you go on hold or did you go straight to? 'Cause, I mean, as
I,
an undesignated, you don't go to C school at all, right?
we go to a
A
school. It's
small.
crap. Yeah, it's like a little joke school or whatever. They had the audacity to have me waiting to get classed up for. Um, but you go to like a little school or whatever. It's like 3 weeks. It was right across the street from RTC. It was at NTC.
Uh-huh.
Uh, and it was just like tying knots. We
Yeah,
was
so like
tying
some basic.
knots, like
Okay.
getting our marlin spike, our seamanship, some basic seamanship stuff that I immediately forgot once I left.
Yeah, that's all.
And
Yeah.
that was only 3 weeks, and then I went home.
Okay, so you went home on leave.
Yeah. And I only stayed for like 4 or 5 days. I didn't stay the whole 30. I could have stayed for like 30 days. You know, you
Mhm.
could be on vacation for 30 days. I had lived in Youngstown my whole life. I couldn't wait to get to Virginia.
How was home after boot camp?
It was fun because I had money, right? Because I got my little boot camp
Yeah, a
money.
little check.
I bought a car immediately. So I got a
Man,
car.
you got out of boot camp and got a car?
Mm-hmm.
She
I
said,
drove.
ain't
I
paying no
drove
child.
from my
You
hometown
had
to
a
my
car?
station. Yeah, I had a car immediately. Immediately. That little it was a Pontiac Grand Prix.
I think yeah, I think I do
Yeah,
remember
I
a
had a car
Pontiac.
immediately. I pulled up. I wasn't and then I got to get that money back too for the plane ticket that I was supposed to have because I
Yeah.
drove. They
Oh
had like
yeah.
reimbursed
Yeah.
money or whatever. But yeah, I had got me a car immediately. I couldn't be carless out there, not being able to move when I want to move.
So we get through. So all right, so I'm looking at some highlights right now. Just just kind of recapping. Foster, some foster care somewhere. Some you said some running away. Moms sold some drugs at some points of time. Stayed with dad. It was hard, cell phones getting thrown around, stuff like that. Um, so ASVAB had some trouble with it. Did you say? Yeah. So you said you had some trouble with it. We get the boot camp. Still kind of rough around the edges or whatever like that. Because I mean, I'm saying all this because I want my audience to kind of know, like, we talking to a lawyer, like a lawyer, like official. You know what I mean? So now we get all the way to fast forward. All that trouble, um, all those issues, all that growing up, all that maturing, all that learning on the way. I mean, and there's still a whole lot more left, right? But now we at our first ship. You come to the command, you got the car, and we at the first ship, right? In Virginia. What's that experience like?
I think that arriving there was probably like one of the most exhilarating experiences of my life. I never want to discount that. Like driving through the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel for the first time ever, like a tunnel that go underwater. You know what I mean? Like that was deep for me. Like I cried when I seen the first ships. You know how you coming across the
Yeah,
Chesapeake
when you
Bay,
pull up,
like
you see
these
all the
ships, and
ships.
it's like this is real. I'm really in the Navy. Like it was real. Like it became like I feel like the USS Marlin Spike for battle stations or whatever don't have nothing on the fleet, So when you
So
actually
you
see it,
went through the Marlin Spike?
yeah,
Okay, all right, okay. I
yeah.
was like
I
one of
went
the
through
last
that.
classes to go through the old battle stations.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I went through the good
The
ship.
nice joint, the nice. All right,
Yeah,
so
the nice,
so you seeing all these shit. That was the same thing for me too. It was like
yeah,
almost like a fantasy world. You get somewhere and you see all these ships, man, and it's like big as hell in the water. Like never saw this before ever. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So you're there. You got this. You got the same astonishing look as I had probably.
definitely. But I'm not. But I'm lost for like 5 hours. I'll never forget that
Mm-hmm.
because the ship was in the shipyards and
Okay.
everything me towards NOB. I'm like, it looked like this is where I'm supposed to be, where all these ships is at. You know what I'm saying? So like, why is it taking me to Portsmouth? Like I can't get here. And I remember being on the phone with Senior Chief Balestino. You remember him, Doc? He was the doc on the Bellegarde when I got there. So I'm on with him and he like trying to like help guide me because first it was BM2 Stone but he definitely was giving horrible navigation directions. And this is at a time where you got to think, I drove from Ohio to Virginia with
Yeah.
papers in my hand. Like I used MapQuest. Like I printed out my
Yeah,
map.
that's back then. Yeah, that's back then.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't have
MapQuest.
Yeah.
MapQuest,
navigation. You know
y'all.
what I'm saying? Like, I didn't have
MapQuest.
my phone.
Pontiac.
Yeah.
MapQuest and a Pontiac, y'all.
MapQuest in a Pontiac. Like that's so I'm lost, right?
Yeah.
But somehow I finally make it there, and it's like the middle of the night. I remember meeting IT1 Wary. She was like the first person that I met, and she was so nice and welcoming.
Oh
She
man,
was
good first 72.
She was.
Yeah, she was giving me like a real false idea of what it was about to be like, though. She had my rack made for me. Like she had made my rack since she knew I was getting there late.
Hey, so
like,
we were in the yards. You said we were in the yards when you got. So we already had. So 2 people passed when we were in the. We lost to undesignated seaman. It was either he was either undesignated or both. He died in a car accident, and then we lost a GSM too.
I remember, but I was there when y'all lost him. The GSM too, because I know Chi. That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but you wasn't there when we lost the. It was actually 2 seamen or something like that from deck division that died in like the same weekend or whatever. One of them name was Glover. It was a guy named Glover who passed.
I heard of Glover.
Yeah, that was like right before you got there. Yeah.
Yeah, I had heard of him, but I never got to know him. So
Okay,
yeah, I didn't even know that all those people had passed away. I know
like right before you got there.
Yeah, and I think that I had already been there for a while though when the GSM had passed.
Okay.
Yeah, I had already been there for a while when he had passed because I remember going to his like memorial service and all the rest of the stuff that they had for him in the yards.
Yeah.
Got there, so that was a whole new life, getting adjusted to ship life in the yards. Because I didn't know what it would be like when we actually started.
Yeah, you don't even really know. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't really know what it's like.
So you remember what month that was?
It was September. Nah. Yeah. I want to say it was September, August, July, August, September. Had to have been October. Had to have been early October because I joined at the end of July. I was in boot camp for 8 weeks. I went to that school for like 3. I only went home for 1 week and then I came. So
what year was that?
Early October 07.
So we got there the same month.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Okay. Yeah. We got to the ship the same exact month. Okay, that's what, and I that's what I thought I remembered. Okay, we got there the same month. Okay, all right, I'm listening.
So we got there. The next day though, like that first morning, it was like the shell shock. Like I'm going to my division. Like I'm going to I'm at my real duty station. Like I'm about to really be seeing what I'm gonna be doing every day. And that first deck department quarters, that first muster, with all those dusty sailors. Yeah. And everybody was so dirty, like with all that paint on them and all the rest of that stuff. That wasn't what I was pulling up for. That's not the lifestyle that I had for real. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't know why these people was dirty like this, but I knew I didn't want to be dirty with them.
Yeah.
I'm about that cute girl life. I don't know about being dusty. I'm cool on that for real. I did not know. So it was a shell shock. I'm grateful to deck department though, because I feel like it gave me the opportunity to be a fuck up on a regular basis. When you in a group of fuck ups, it's okay that you making mistakes or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like people kind of almost expect that. The expectations for me were really low. Mm. The expectations for me, I hate you.
Something.
Yeah.
Come here. But he don't want to come to me. That's the thing. Like he really driving me. I don't know why he acting like this. He don't know. He be like, I guess I'm giving y'all way too much attention. I'm sorry. And I want him to come here so bad. Come here. And then he want to play like when he come. I got him now.
Yeah, you can bring him on. Yeah. Hey man,
it's our troublemaker.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
feisty.
How you doing?
Feisty.
We all got one of those.
Yeah, he about that action for real. He got more heart than any big dog I ever seen.
Yeah, them little dogs be trying, man.
Yeah, they do.
So you deck division quarters, first quarters,
First
Dusty.
quarters, I'm meeting everybody for the first time, meeting a lot of characters. And it was a lot of characters in that division. Like I'm meeting a lot of characters, people, it's all these different Navy stereotypes. The person who rich but joined because he really wanted to serve.
Yeah, it was
And
a woman, right? A girl, right? Tonga. Yeah, I won't say her name. Yeah, it was a woman, right? BM.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I remember her.
Yeah, so it was a bunch of people that I had to like just kind of adjust to. I think that the Navy in itself in that first week, I dealt with a lot of things that I had never experienced before, or like never even expected to experience. Like I remember one of the BM2s was like trying to date me real hard, had me feeling real like sexually harassed a little bit, and in a situation where it's like you got this power dynamic for real because you be telling me what to do every day. So if I don't entertain you how you want to be entertained a little bit or play nice a little bit, then every day I'm over the side painting the water line. You know what I'm saying? Like, versus being topside sweeping if I'm just playing nice. You know what I mean? So like the politics of being bothered with that. I don't know if you remember the Master Chief that was on the ship at that time, but I remember how you do your check-in, you got all these people you got to go meet or whatever. And I got to the Master Chief's office, and this is like the most senior enlisted person on the ship, and Parsons closed the door behind us himself as he stepped out for us to have a thing, and he popped up and opened the door. He was like, "Oh, we're gonna keep that door open. Pretty little color girl like yourself. I wouldn't want anybody to think something was going on in here."
Oh man.
And I didn't even know how to react to that.
This was
like
1957,
color?
2007.
Like, I don't know if I should be saying thank you for calling me pretty, if I should be cussing you out because you called me color. This is my first hour and a half in the fleet.
This wasn't a black Master Chief?
No.
Oh, man. Wow.
A little color girl like
Pretty
yourself.
little color girl like yourself.
He was bold though, because I'll never forget one time it was a whole bunch of black people sitting at this bench by the ship store, and he was like, "Well, this must be Martin Luther King Boulevard."
Oh no, he doing too much. He doing too much.
He used to say stuff like that. We all looking
trying
like
to increase the morale.
Yeah, man. He ain't trying to.
What am I supposed to say? How am I supposed to react to this is Martin Luther King Boulevard?
Oh my goodness, that's crazy.
So I got on the Vela Golf. I would say as far as adjusting is concerned, I don't think that I really adjusted that well. I was always in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I was always in trouble. I was always talking back. And in deck department, fun fact about deck department, at least the way it was ran under the chief that I was under, it was if you was late to work, if you was late to muster, even by a minute, you work till taps.
Dang.
Right? So if you late to muster, you work till taps. And I used to be late all the time.
Yeah.
And then it even got to the point because I knew that I was going to work till taps, I would be even later. Like I wouldn't even rush. Like if I'm already 1 minute late, I might as well take a nap, get up, get dressed. You know what I'm saying? Take my time with it. Might as well roll in round 1 since I'm working till 10. You know, like you know what I mean? If that's how we working it. So in deck department at the time, it was you had to work till taps, and I was always late, and I was always working till taps. And that wasn't a problem in deck department because they really didn't care that much. They never used to write me any like counseling chits or anything like that. That just wasn't how they solved things in deck department. Fast forward, I'm mess cranking, right?
Did we crank at the same time? No.
I think we did crank at the same time, and I was very unrunreliable. I think you should.
I was in the war room. I was in the war room.
Oh yeah, because you was always a finesser yourself. With the I wasn't a fake good sailor. I was a bad sailor.
I was a real good sailor. I was a real good sailor. I was a real good sailor. I just was a real dude off the ship too. You know what I'm saying?
I was a real good sailor. So on the mess deck, we would have to be there. Like one day you're supposed to be at work at 5. That's your early day. And then the next day you're supposed to be at work at 7. That's your late. I was late like 97 days in a row. And I refused to wear the mess desk, the crank uniform. It was like a shirt and pant thing you would wear. I would just wear my coveralls every day. Like I had never been issued a shirt. But the shirts had smelled bad, so I threw my shirt away on purpose because it smelled bad and I couldn't wash the smell out of it. So I was like, they're gonna have to order us new shirts,
Yeah.
or I'm gonna just keep saying I don't have one, and I'm gonna keep wearing what I have. So I was like 90 days, 97 days. I have been late every day. I go to DRB. This is my first DRB, right?
Okay.
They cut me a break after DRB. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be doing like extra duty. So they didn't mask me. I'm supposed to be doing extra duty. But then like 2 days after they put me on this extra duty, they don't mask me. I'm late again. So they mad. They just like, nah, we masking her now. She gotta go to mass. So I go to mass for the first time. And I said the first time. I go to mass for the first time. And they sentenced me to 30 days in the brig. I went to CCU.
Oh, that's that program. We talked about that.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I was a CCU little booter or whatever. I don't know if you remember, but there was this guy, I can't even think of his name, and it's so sad because he was really so clutch, man. He had just came from Novella Golf and he had got stationed at CCU. And he was a lifesaver because at nighttime on the CCU, I'd be outside smoking my cigarettes. Like he used to like sneak me food in the late night. Like wake up, knowing it's his time. He'd like hook it up for me or whatever. He was clutch. CCU was really a blessing because I lost like 15 pounds in there in that like little fake boot camp environment.
Yeah. Was the Marines running it?
No, it was sailors. All sailors was running it. We was in the brig. That was like the crappy part. And they had these huge cockroaches. I'll never forget that because I could never get comfortable around them roaches. Like, I never know when one gonna come out. You know what I'm saying? But CCU, I was in CCU for 30 days. I actually ended up being lucky a little bit because when it was time for me to get out of CCU, my ship was out to sea. So then I had like 3 weeks of like TAD at this place where I used to just go muster and then be free all day. So I was loving that. And then, I was in the break for 30 days, but I had got the opportunity to stack them couple little paychecks up. Yep. So it wasn't nothing. And when I had finally got out, I got to go back to the PPVs because we was living in them first sets of PPVs at the time, right?
Yeah. So was that on base or off base?
That was on base.
The on base PPVs.
On base PPV.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, the first sets of PPV.
I had a nice one of them too.
I had a nice one of them.
Yeah.
And my roommate, she was a SK from like a squadron, but she was cool and she smoked, and we had took the thing down. Like we had we had took that down. We was living our best lives up in there, So it was really a good time. I enjoyed the PPVs. I enjoyed that time, but I went to the brig, then I went back to the ship. So the ship finally came back. But in that time, I don't know, Novella Golf was different. You was there, Damo. Damo was there for all of this. He was there for me getting masted regularly because I went to mass like 4 times on that shit. Yeah. That was my first mass. I went to mass the first time for being late to work all the time. Then I got wrapped up in like this sex scandal.
Oh, that big mask case?
That big mask.
The one that everybody was wondering if they name would get
called. One of those, huh?
Yeah, that was.
Listen, that's probably one of the funniest DRBs ever because they had a chief sitting in the hallway with us. They had us all in the hallway at parade rest. They would not allow us to talk. We was all in the hallway at parade rest. The DRB lasted so long that they took us all into the classroom and had us eat our lunch in the classroom in front of the chief still to make sure that we wasn't talking to each other, trying to get our stories straight or no shit like that. The funny thing is, I have been laying the groundwork for my stories for weeks before.
And the crazy thing is, new names was getting called like as we went. So you walking through the P-ways like, hey man, you think
scared. They were scared. Everybody's scared.
New names was getting called. Because new names was getting called a lot.
And you could tell who was in there snitching. And this is how you could tell people. The people that was in the hallway could tell who was in there snitching. Because I'm in the hallway at parade rest and I hear AM3 Ames, Chief's mess. So whoever is inside of there just said about Ames that's making them call him to the Chiefs mess, right? So like everybody that's in there, people in there, they snitching like crazy. And I remember because they was threatening me, like trying to get me to admit that I was having sex in hole 4, like trying to get me to admit that I was messing around on the ship. And you know what's crazy is me and AD was definitely messing around on the ship. So
Yeah.
So just to like rewind, we was definitely doing that for sure. But nobody could really prove it. Like people were saying stuff, it was all speculation, but I just kept saying no, it didn't happen. I admitted that I was having relations with him outside of the ship, like
Yeah.
out in town. I admitted that. I was like, yeah, we be talking out in town, we be going on dates and stuff out in town. I ain't never did nothing on this ship that I wasn't supposed to do. I ain't never been nowhere on this ship with him that I wasn't supposed to be, which was definitely a lie. And I stuck to my lie. I rode the wheels off of it. And I really came out shining bright like a diamond because I don't know if you remember Damo, but I was one of the only people that walked away from that with absolutely no punishment.
I just remember you ain't getting in trouble. I do remember from that case you ain't getting in trouble. I remember the people that got in the most trouble because I think 4 people got in more trouble than like anybody else. I think we had a first class get in trouble for second. Woman, she was a woman at second, and then we had 2 people that got caught that were pretty much in a relationship. You know, that they got in trouble, and then I know all other. And it's crazy because those were the 2 cases that started the whole thing. You know, but then it's like people go in there and they like, hey, well, if you get me, then you need to talk to this person, that person, this person. But yeah, so and I think I most of them I still see them and they all doing good. So you know,
but that's good. That's good. I've actually, you know, it's crazy because I've actually hung out with Harris. So some backdrop as civilians, like I done kicked it with her in Georgia. We like cool. I be mentoring her niece. She got a niece that want to go to law school. I be mentoring. So like it's crazy that we was able to like grow up as women and like, you know, just kind of like completely overcome that situation. She doing real well for herself.
Yeah,
so that's great.
Too.
But she was like my adversary of all adversaries. Y'all, this is something you probably don't even know. I don't know if you remember, she had got kicked out the Navy, but we was on that deployment, and they were saying that she couldn't leave because she didn't have her ID. She had lost her ID.
You took it?
I threw it over the side. I sure did.
Oh my God.
You remember everybody used to keep their ID in their pocket in their coveralls, and you hang your coveralls on the hook or whatever. Yeah. So this is so sad, but so because they had kicked my boyfriend out the Navy, right, and they was about to send her home to be with my man.
Yeah,
like because they was kicking her out too. So I was like, oh no, she got to stay.
Yeah.
I gotta find a way to keep her here. I sure did. I threw six ID on.
All right. So, what was your third mask?
So, my third mask for allegedly being asleep on watch. The watch had been stood down. I was supposed to be aft lookout, and I had a trainee with me. The watch was stood down because they was shooting a 5-inch from aft lookout, and when they do that, the watch is stood down. So the watch was supposed to be stood down. The watch was stood down. My little trainee wanted to stay because he wanted to like watch them shoot the gun. So when he stayed up there, he was watching them shoot the gun. I went and laid down in the hangar bay, all out, laid down in the hangar bay, like used some life vest, created a pillow, everything.
That was a thing back then.
Yeah.
The bosun mate of the watch refused to admit that he had stood us down. Ops had seen us sleep, seen me sleep, seen my shipmate or whatever on the phone and playing games or whatever, and had went and was like, he had approached us like, please tell me you're not the aft lookout. I was like, well, I'm stood down. And then he went and like made like this whole thing about it, and then I ended up going to mass again for this aft lookout situation. But I remember that the XO really wanted to drop the whole thing, but the Chiefs mess was like, no, she didn't got away with too many things. She always getting away with stuff. And the XO was like, but I believe her, like, because I admitted that I couldn't swim for real, because I really did used to take aft lookout like real serious, because I knew that if I had fell over the side, I would really want somebody to be paying attention, right? So I used to really be paying attention. And I explained that to him or whatever. So XO really wanted to let it go, but the Chiefs was like just so desperate for me to be punished. So that's when they had started like this alternative punishment, where like you gotta stay, you on restriction, but you're not really on restriction. If that makes sense. Like the Chiefs mess could put you on restriction. So I went through like something again with the Chiefs mess, and then I had to stay on the ship for 2 weeks.
Okay, so it sounded like the captain and the XO pushed it back to the Chiefs mess, and the Chiefs mess was in charge of the punishment.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Were you there for the rape?
I was there for that. I was there
Okay.
for that
So
with
I don't want to get
oh no.
too much into the details, but I
Yeah.
do want to ask you how'd you feel after it though?
I felt safe. I never felt like I wasn't safe on that ship.
Uh-huh.
That's one thing that I can honestly say. I think that being a woman in the Navy is really a lot about how you carry yourself,
Yeah.
right? I used to always say that once I became like a more senior sailor, I used to always tell my junior female sailors that, like, don't change your voice when you're talking to men on this ship. Don't
Mm-hmm.
change your voice when you're talking to me. I was like, can you please? Or do you
Yeah.
mind? It's never that.
Yeah.
Either you gonna let me get in front of you or you ain't. Because I got watch. What is it? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I never be in a position like, can you help me carry this? Like, I carry my weight at
Yeah.
all times. And I feel like nobody ever really made me feel uncomfortable on some like aggressive. Like, I feel like if
Yeah.
somebody came at me aggressively, I would have been prepared to defend myself.
Yeah.
Right?
Well. Let's. Hey. So this for Damon. How tall are you?
5'9".
No.
Oh, me. Oh,
How
I'm
okay.
tall are
like
you?
6 foot. I'm like 6 foot,
Yes.
5'11" and three
Yeah.
So
fourths.
she
You
not
hold
like
your
that
own.
short either. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
she's
yeah, yeah,
standing
yeah,
eye to
yeah,
eye with
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah,
with
yeah,
the dude. She's standing eye to eye with them
yeah,
and
Yeah, that was
towering above. Yeah, you standing eye to eye and towering above a lot of the women,
yeah.
on the ship.
yeah.
So I never had no problems like that. I think out of anything, the most I would say, if I looking back, I feel like I want to say sexually harassed a lot in my division.
Uh-huh.
Like, my superiors
Mm,
was like regularly trying me, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And making me feel uncomfortable in ways that I didn't have the voice then. Like,
mm-hmm.
the person that I am today would just flat out be like, stop,
Mm-hmm.
stop. You know what I'm saying? But the person that I was then, it was just like, I don't want to upset BM2,
Yeah,
because BM2 really controls my
yeah,
life.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
he really has control over my life. So I don't want to sleep with him, but I don't want to upset him
yeah,
either.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So
that's a
like,
fine line. That's like a
and a
fine
lot of
line.
that come with knowing how to like navigate those situations. And it's sad because you got to know, like, I can't be alone with this person.
Yeah.
Or when people leave the bosun's locker, I need to leave the bosun's locker. Or if
That's
I show up at
crazy.
the bosun's locker and he there by himself, I need to turn
yeah.
around. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? Like, so that made it kind of
But
crappy. I'm
that's
not
that's
gonna lie.
crazy though, man. But that happens like all the freaking time, man. Especially for females. But I tell you what, that shit is damn near coming to a halt now. These female sailors now will put your ass on fucking blast real
Because
quick.
enough is
Yeah,
enough. And you know what? And I feel like back then it needed to be more of
yeah.
that. It needed to be more of that. And even for these chiefs, because it would be a lot of chiefs. I had chiefs going crazy. I was messing with a senior chief,
Mm-hmm.
quartermaster, like regularly messing with him, dating
Mm-hmm.
him. Like, you know what I'm saying? On my ship. He would be coming to get me from and I ain't gonna hold y'all. I was messing with him tough for real, because he used to be coming to get me all the time from the deck. Like, I need to talk to her. I need to this. I need to that. And it was crazy because my chief had asked him to mentor me,
Oh,
Yeah.
right?
oh,
So my chief had asked the QMC to mentor me, and QMC was really just trying to get my cookies the whole time. And
That's
I was
crazy.
playing the game with QMC up in the quartermaster office all the time in the air conditioning, relaxing while
Yeah.
people was topside needle gunning. But
Finessing.
oh, okay. But then obviously over time he wanted
Mm-hmm.
too much, so I had to, because I wasn't willing. He was old too. He used to like creep me out, but
Yeah.
but like, yeah, like that was a regular thing. So I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear that things is
oh yeah.
changing.
Was you there? We had a QM who got killed by the cops. Was you there for that?
No,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
no,
We had a
that sounds
QM.
horrible.
Yeah, we had a QM that got killed by the cops. When did you leave?
I got there in '07. I want to say I left in '09.
Okay. What was your favorite moment in those 2 years from being on that ship?
My favorite moment.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. because I was in deck department. I feel like my most fun moment ever. I think I had like this just amazing rush of excitement. We was doing like some anchoring evolutions, and they let me be anchor captain,
Mm-hmm.
and I got to like release the anchor and then like give the orders to stop it. It was like just a really exciting moment to just see like all of that chain running out as fast it was, and just to know like that I'm like in charge of this whole evolution. I feel like that was like probably one of like the highlights of my time there. I really enjoyed that, and
Yeah.
then I enjoyed the crossing the line ceremony because
Oh
I
yeah,
went
yeah.
from
We had fun.
Pollywog to Shellback on that my first deployment ever. I had a really fun time with that. That was probably one of my greater highlights. And then lastly, getting my pen. I got my surface warfare pen
Mm-hmm.
on that ship. So I think that was a really good time, and I feel like it was good for me too because like people used to always have so much to say, and I feel like that was one of my opportunities to really show them like I'm not dumb. Like
Yeah.
I'm actually very intelligent. Like I could really be running the whole show here if I was given the opportunity.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure. So I don't want to gloss over the sexual, harassment, part that you was talking. Is there any more to that, or you kind of said everything already?
I feel like I really said everything. I think that if some current female sailors was listening to this,
Mm-hmm.
I would say tell on their ass.
Yeah.
Tell. He's
Yeah.
sending you inappropriate text messages, screenshot, report. He grabbing on you or touching you in ways that you don't want to be touched on, report. I would say in every turn, I think that a lot of the times I feel like we be giving people power. I felt like they had so much power over
Mm-hmm.
me and so much power over my everyday life. But if I would have reported them, they wouldn't have had that power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And even then, probably they wouldn't have been even able or felt comfortable even telling me to do my job after that. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Just because I had already went ahead and reported them. So I definitely think that it should be done because I don't think that more sailors should have to suffer after you, right?
Yeah.
If you going through it, more sailors shouldn't have to suffer after you. And it shouldn't matter what level that people is at in the game. One thing I will say though is make sure that you tread softly and that you do it the right way because you
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah. Do.
a
Yeah.
situation where the whole Chiefs mess is gunning for you because you done told on one of their own. Because it's a lot of them that be committing them as in y'all. It's
Yeah.
funny
Yeah.
that
Yes.
Damo is really with them.
Yeah.
I keep saying them because I keep forgetting that you really gang with them now. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Khaki gang now. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
He's one of
Yeah.
them.
But we.
Yeah, one of
Yeah.
them.
But not those ones. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
yeah,
you
not
want to
those
clarify
ones.
that, right? You want to clarify that, Damo?
Oh, no, I mean, I think we have to. I honestly think we have to because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
do hear about it a lot.
Yeah, yeah.
People do. A lot of women talk about feeling uncomfortable. I mean, just on the last, when the last time we interviewed a woman on our podcast and she talked about feeling uncomfortable by somebody that was in a Chiefs mess, and it wasn't even as much they was coming on to her, but they was asking her about another, woman because she had she had a girlfriend or whatever. So they're asking her about the girl, or they was assuming that she was messing with that girl and that wasn't who she was messing with. So then they asking her about like sex actually, like how is that, stuff like that. So
Yeah, that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
inappropriate.
yeah,
It's very inappropriate. So I think that that's one thing. I think another thing too, which I feel like we probably would talk more about when we talk about like my next commands or whatever, is
mm-hmm.
the racism and the little racist little things that people say that they don't realize is racist. You know what I mean? Like I used to have this one senior chief who used to always be saying little stuff like, yeah, cause McNeil and her projects, they blah blah blah. I'm not from the projects. I ain't never lived in a project a day in my life. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So why is it that you keep saying McNeil or Rios with these project references? Because I don't even really know nothing about the projects for real. Or having somebody say, he used to always be like, like that's
Oh
like
man,
this is some type
Yeah.
of like I don't know what this is. I don't know
yeah,
why you're doing this, but I want it to stop. You know,
uh-huh.
so like I used to deal with a lot of little situations like that too, and I think that people don't realize that they're saying implicitly racist things to Black
Yeah,
people on an
Mm-hmm.
everyday basis, right? You know what I mean? Like they don't realize that they're saying like little implicitly racist things, or like you
that's
just
crazy.
assume that I got all of this information about this gang or this ghetto or whatever the case may be, and I really don't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I call it. My term for it is like racial ignorance. Like that's my term for it because I think sometimes I don't even think some people like racist. I just think they don't know how we gonna feel hearing this. Like, yo, this is not like what you should be saying to me. Like, I had to actually talk to chief before, a senior chief before, because dude was playing music and it had the N word in the music. And the senior chief, he told him, white senior chief, he's like, hey, turn that music off or whatever. And the dude, well, I guess he wasn't, and he was like, well, what music, whatever happened. He was like, because it can't say that word. And the dude was like, what word? And then he said the word. He actually said the N word. And we don't say that. Like, we don't say that on here. He actually said the N word, like, boom. And then the seller took offense to that. You know what I'm saying? So we had to have a whole conversation about just how that's not cool, And then the thought process with the guy was like, well, if he could say it and listen to the music, then why can't I say it when I'm telling him not to listen to it? I'm like, I hear it, like I kind of hear what you're saying, but you gotta understand, like, so I'm like, all right, this is like a more like a teachable moment than anything else. And it's crazy because sometimes we teaching shit that people should know. You know what I'm saying? That we think people should know already. Like,
They probably do know.
All right, but yeah. Well, all right, so let's get you.
Knowing.
Yeah, so let's get you back to. It's crazy that. So all right, so now that we just brought up, like, for me, like, my biggest thing is always to give people benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? So that might be a strength, and it could be a weakness at times. But it's like, all right, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'm gonna give you this education, and it works more than it doesn't sometimes because I don't think enough people do that or whatever. Give people benefit. A lot of times people, do know stuff. You know what I'm saying? I think that's why sometimes my wife look at me like, nah, like, because it's like I'm giving everybody the benefit of the doubt. All right, but let's get back to the Villa Golf real quick. You left the Villa Golf because you got a rate, right?
Yep.
All right, so then that. So what was your rate?
AZ.
Okay, AZ. All right, so then you left AZ with a surface warfare qualification, right?
Yes.
Or
That's exactly how I left.
AZSN, AZAN,
Yeah, I was AN. So I rated, but I didn't class up or whatever. So I was AZAN. I went to I was so lucky too. It's so crazy. You remember Dukes? You
hell
got
yeah,
her.
yeah. I love
Yeah,
it.
how could you forget her? Well, Duke's got a brother that was an AE1. And I left from her cover and her protection to his because I went to VFA 136.
Nice.
And he was there,
Yeah.
AE1 Dukes. So that was nice. And I got to start doing that AZ life, AZ work. I chose the Ray AZ because I wanted to sit down a lot. I wanted to be in air conditioning. I wanted to be in the office. I didn't want to stand any watches. I was under the impression that they didn't stand watch, which was false. But even the watches that they did stand weren't like the watches that I used to stand. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wanted to become an AZ for that reason. I honestly, to be real with you, I really couldn't tell you anything about really being an AZ or any AZ work because I hardly used to do any work at all. I used to just sit in the office a lot, not doing anything.
Was this skating or was this you skating or was that just the job at that time?
I think that it was partially me being a skater, a strong skater, but then I also think that a part of it was just the fact that like people really wasn't trying to teach me, right? Because I didn't go to A school. I went straight there. I didn't want to go to Mississippi, so I didn't go to A school. I went straight to my command, and nobody was really teaching me anything. And that's another way sometimes how people having interpersonal relationships can create an issue because there was a second class there who should have been teaching me stuff, but he had like this relationship with this other third class and they was like always like off working together like exclusively, and then I just be sitting around on my phone for hours.
Yeah.
And I'm not the type of person to ask for work if I'm going to be paid regardless.
At this point, right, freshly at the new command or whatever, how many years left you got on your enlistment?
Like a year and change at that point.
Okay.
I was
so
only
are
there
you
like,
so are you looking at the Navy at this point as I'm gonna do 20? Are you looking at the Navy like I'm gonna finish this enlistment and I'm gonna get up out of here?
oh, I'm getting out. I'm
Okay.
getting out. 20 was never on my mind.
Okay.
20, 20 never crossed my mind, not one time. I really wanted to get out when I was done with the 4, for real.
Mm-hmm.
But I wasn't prepared, and I let people scare me into staying in the Navy. That's the reason why when you asked me to come on here, like I was really about doing it, because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. When I had got out after them 4 years was up, I should have went on ahead about my business, because that's what I really wanted, right? But instead, I stayed for 2 years because I was scared. Basically, like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm scared to get out. I don't know what I'm gonna do. This is all I know for real, because this is all I really been doing. Uh, I don't have a real plan in place. I don't have savings in place for real. Even though I just came
Mm-hmm.
back off the deployment, I ball out regularly. That's all I know. You know, I
Yeah.
didn't have my stuff together to get out the Navy. So I told myself, and people like my beautician was telling me not to get out. She was telling me like, "You gonna get out the Navy and you ain't gonna be able to get your hair done no more." I got so many clients that's struggling so hard and telling me I ain't gonna be able to get my hair done. That's deep, okay? Like that's deep for me. Like I ain't getting my hair done.
Yeah.
Like dang, they doing bad like that. It's bad like that. You know what I'm saying? And then people, I had knew this one guy I was dating or whatever, and I don't even know why I was dating him, because looking back, he was really such a loser. But
Mm-hmm.
he was like, yeah, I got out the Navy, but I was only out for like 3 months. I hurried up and got back in. I
You
was
got back
basically
in.
begging them.
You
I
got back
was
in.
basically begging them to come back. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
And
And
that
I'm
happened.
just
And a lot of people. That happened to a lot of
Yeah.
people.
it happens to a lot of people, right? And they
Yeah.
was telling me like, move up, not out.
Yeah.
You just made third class. You
So
in a
you
good
getting
place.
projections. You basically getting other
Yeah.
people. You getting other people projections about what's safe and what's not safe. And we gonna get there in a sec. I want to talk about this next duty station for a quick second. Because you was talking about the racism and you was talking about dealing with some stuff like that. Was that it or was it more?
I think that at that duty station, it was a lot of it's at that duty station I dealt with a lot of racist things,
Mm-hmm.
as far as like people just making little snide, slick comments or
Yeah.
whatever. Even saying things, because sometimes people think that they not being racist or they not being shady to you, but they shading another black person like,
Yeah.
oh, McNeil hair not nappy like Cross's hair. Like
Yeah.
that's shady to me too, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like even the fact that you even feel comfortable making comments about our hair, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. So I think that it was a lot of things like that. Another thing too, I think for Black women especially is, hear me, ladies, baby, you are a force to be reckoned with at every level in your life. We set the tone for
Mm-hmm.
everything in this world. So even if you the person that be scrubbing the floors on the ship, it's gonna be other people of other races that are in higher positions than you that are gonna still feel the need to put their foot on your neck, even though you think in your mind you at the bottom of the pole, you as low as it could go. Why would they be messing with you? They still gonna feel the need to put their foot on your neck because they can see things in you that you can't see in yourself, and that's your greatness. That's
Mm-hmm.
how light and bright you really shining for real. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people they don't realize that, because I would have first class white females talking down to me, telling me to put my hands at my side, stop using my hands when I talk, telling me things of that nature, like trying to go over and above with the ego trip to put me in my place all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I really know my place. I know that I'm just a deck seaman. I know that I'm just an airman or whatever the case may be. I know what I'm supposed to be doing. So why is it you always feel the need to be beaten down on me,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's because I'm really great. I'm really awesome. And you really could see that. And it's really bothering you because you don't have that light within yourself. So I think that that's something that a lot of times you don't recognize it. But I used to have people all the time, like just
Yeah.
trying to just sun me. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh.
you got to take laundry out every day. Like, I remember on my last deployment on the Enterprise, for the last like 3 weeks, I was supposed to be carrying the laundry from the berthing down to the 4 levels below every day as like a punishment for like missing berthing cleaners or something. It
Yeah.
was like such an outrageous punishment. Nobody else had ever seen a punishment like this. But obviously, when we do something, or me and my little crew miss our dare, it's a whole thing. When other people similarly situated, it's never a problem.
So you went from a small ship to a big ship.
I
How was
did.
that transition?
It was so nice. Well, I wasn't ship's company on the Enterprise.
Oh, that's even
I was
better.
actually at the Squadron. I wasn't ship's company, but I'm not gonna hold you, okay? It was like Chocolate City on the Enterprise. It was so many men. They was everywhere. And you know, being a female, like that's the flip side, right? Because it's the one side where it's like, oh, you're getting sexually harassed. But then it's the flip side of it where your stock go up every day. Finer, right?
Yeah.
And it's 5,000 men and it's 50 women. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to you
Yeah.
have a boyfriend everywhere. I loved it, and I did. I maximized. I had my one boo that was in the mess decks. He used to be cooking my food. I had another boo in laundry. He used to be cooking my clothes. I had one in the ship store. I ain't never have to stand in the line. I had plugs all over. I had my MA boo, so if the smoke pit was closed, I could still smoke.
Just winning.
You
Then I
still
got
smoke? Do you still smoke?
Oh no. Well, I
Okay.
smoke weed. I smoke weed.
Yeah,
That was
okay,
one of the
marijuana.
reasons I got out the Navy, to liberate my lungs.
Okay, but you were smoking cigarettes on the ship.
Yeah, I was smoking cigarettes on the ship. I actually haven't smoked. I had stopped smoking cigarettes before I got out the Navy. Like my last like 2 years, I wasn't smoking them. But I used to smoke cigs, so I used to be in the smoke pit, getting my little smoke pit gossip, all the rest of that. Being on a large ship, it was just nice too because you could just disappear for hours.
Yeah.
Nobody.
I never. Damon did large ships, so I never.
Yeah.
I never. Did large
Man,
ships.
it was nice.
Hours is like it's nowhere to be found. Like they gotta call you over to 1MC.
Yeah.
Ain't got no choice. Like the ship's so big, it's so many places to be hiding. And then you could be in somebody else's berthing. You could be in another female berthing, like kicking it with some other females doing stuff. That's why they can't find you in your berthing. Or you could just be in their berthing lounge just because you don't want to be found in your berthing. So berthing swaps was like a thing.
Could be at home. You could be at the crib. They don't even know.
They really don't know. It's so big, it's really almost impossible. So I really enjoyed it. I had a really good time. I got my wings on the Enterprise.
Nice. SWAW.
Yeah, so I was dual warfare qualified. I got my wings on there. It was just a good time overall. We went on a really good deployment. We had a whole bunch of port stops. I wasn't used to that because on the Gulf we used to just be out to sea forever, but them big ships be stopping.
Yeah, a lot.
Them
right?
big ships, they having visits on visits.
Yeah. You got any favorite ports?
I would say my greatest time ever. I really enjoyed Israel. We had went to Haifa. Okay. You had went to Haifa when we was on the Gulf. Yeah, we had went to Haifa. I really enjoy Israel, and I like Portugal a lot. I think Portugal might actually be my favorite.
Okay. Where'd you do Portugal at? Lisbon? You did that on the big deck?
Okay. Yeah, Lisbon on the big deck. Yep.
Okay. And you got out the Navy from there, right?
No, so because I was there, I re-enlisted for 2 years, and I did 2 years at NAS Pax River. I was at VQ4, another detachment, and I hated it. And I hated Pax River. I did. I hated Pax River. It wasn't nothing.
Ain't nothing out there. Yeah, ain't nothing out there.
I was driving for hours every weekend, coming back to VA or going to DC. Like I spent money the whole time. I never could save because I always had to go. I used all my leave. I hardly had any terminal leave because it was so boring.
Yeah.
It was just so boring. It was so desolate. It was nothing to do. And I used to hardly be working. That's one thing I could say about the Navy. The whole time that I was in the Navy, I was always a hardly be working person. I never got an inventory award. I went to 3 different commands.
For real?
They never, I never got a NAM. Never.
Yeah.
And I don't.
But you never deserved a NAM, right? You
never. I never got a NAM, and I never deserved a NAM.
Yeah. So it went like you was mad about it, right?
No. I'm out. Where my bag at? Where my sea bag? No, but all right. So before we transition out of the Navy, right? I do want to ask you because to me, you always seem fearless, right? You always seem like a fearless person. Do you have any fears?
Yeah. Like I said, I was scared to get out. Mm-hmm. I was scared to get out, and I still made the move even though I was scared. I I have fear regularly in my business with some of the cases that I take on. Like, I'm like, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want to do this or whatever. Especially early on when I first started my business, my law firm, I was like, especially with some of my like criminal matters, you know. So I definitely have fear. I definitely suffer from like large levels of anxiety. So not necessarily always fear, but I'm a very anxious person.
Okay.
Um, but I think that the thing with fear is just really kind of just facing it, whatever it
Yeah.
is. I always have to just face it. Like I got to get over this. I got to get over this hump.
Yeah. So you're not only a lawyer, you got your own firm. That's your
Yeah.
firm.
Yeah.
Yes, my
Okay,
firm,
man.
7-Eleven Law
Congrats,
Group.
man. Nice.
Nice.
Great.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Thank you.
So
Which is,
getting out the Navy. No, what you saying?
I said, which is something I never imagined.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy, man. That's crazy. So getting out the Navy, anything went weird or was it a smooth transition?
You know, I wouldn't say that anything went weird. I feel like the transition was really smooth. I wanna have like a really transparent moment here and let people know that I got out the Navy with no savings. Because I know
Mm-hmm.
that that's a lot of times would be holding people back. It's like, oh, I gotta get my savings, or I need to pay off my debt, or whatever. I got out the Navy with nothing for real, with my paycheck. I was using
Did
my
you,
paycheck to set myself up. I had used the little bit of leave that I had to go get myself a home in Ohio. I
mm-hmm.
had applied to college before I got out, and I had already got accepted into Ohio State. So I knew that I was going to Ohio State. I knew that I was going to move to the Columbus, Ohio area. Um, but I didn't have things super together. I was
Mm-hmm.
very much so like reliant on the Navy to move me. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't like, oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna front the cost and they're gonna reimburse. Like I needed them to take care of it. They took care of everything that they were supposed to take care of. When I first got out, I collected unemployment that entire first year.
Uh-huh.
So like I collected the unemployment. I got the EBT or the welfare, the SNAP benefits or whatever
Mm-hmm.
immediately. Like everything that you could have for
Yeah.
free, I got it.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I immediately got it. And I had got plugged in on that. And I used that to until it was time for my BAH to start. Once I started going to school, the BAH started. And I lived off my GI Bill for years. I
Yeah.
mean, I worked here and there. Like I would work when I was an undergrad. I had little jobs and stuff like that. But for the most part, my GI Bill like held me
Yeah.
down. I used my BAH to pay my bills. It was more than enough to pay the rent and all of the other bills. I did what I needed to do with that. So I lived like very meagerly, you know what I'm saying, until
Yeah.
I could transition into the next level. But I just want people to know that you don't need to like really have everything figured out, and you don't need to have a lot of money or any of the rest of that stuff. If you ready to go, make your
Yeah.
move.
Seemed like you was
Yeah.
focused too, though. Because I know a lot of guys use a GI Bill, taking 2 classes, and really wasn't, using it and doing it the right way. And I seemed like you was focused and getting shit done.
Definitely. And I was with the GI Bill, you know, you could take whether you take 1 credit hour or 18 credit hour, they're gonna pay you out the
Mm-hmm.
same. I was taking 18 credit hours every semester at
Yeah.
Ohio
Yeah.
State. And I went to
Nice.
school year round. Every I went summer school every season because I knew that I wanted to save as many months as I possibly could for my law degree. So I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to go to law school when I started
Yeah.
going to undergrad. But I
Yeah.
knew I wanted to do that. And I knew that I was going to try to use as much of it as I could. And it worked out because I only paid for 1 year of law school.
Okay.
Nice.
So the way that I did it, I was able because I started going to Ohio State in August of 2017. And
Yeah.
not 17, 2013. I started going to Ohio State in August of 2013 and I graduated in December of 2015.
Mm.
Okay.
So I wasn't there long,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? And then I took a year off, used my GI Bill during that time that I was off to get my real estate license. So I went to real estate, got the real estate license. I'm a licensed realtor in the state of Ohio. I got that license, was making money with that license for a minute, and then I started going to law school. So I used it to get my whole undergraduate degree, my real estate license in Ohio, and then most of my law degree.
That's good
All right.
shit.
So I'm gonna rewind for 1 second. Just to kind of paint a picture real quick. So the day that you get out, right? DD 214 in hand or whatever like that, right? The day that you get out, what do you have and what are your plans? the day I'm out the Navy is days 1 of me being a civilian. Right. And I know you said it, but I want to kind of hear it. So it's day 1. I'm a civilian. I'm out the Navy. I'm done. What you
So
got?
I'm in.
What you thinking?
Is it? I'm thinking I cannot wait to smoke this joint. That's what I'm truly thinking. That's like at the forefront of my mind. I'm not gonna lie to you. The weed was in the air before we was off the base. So I wasn't. So me and my friend had rolled down with me. She had rode down with me from Ohio. I had just moved into my home, and I had to go back because they was being assholes, right, at my command, and they was making me come all the way back to Maryland to report, like for muster, and then to leave. So I literally showed up, showed my face, and
On
then
your
I had to
last
get
day.
back on the road like 5 hours on my last
On your
day.
last day. Okay.
Yeah, so that was a dick move if I'd never seen one before in my life.
Okay.
But anyway, but I was too free for those people, and I had been there for a year and a half, hardly working. So they really, they really wasn't feeling me like that. I'm not mad.
Yeah. But the groundwork was laid. You had the house. You did that in the Navy.
I had the house, and I had my car, and I had my house, and everything was in my house.
Was it the Pontiac?
No. So at that point,
so you got out the Pontiac.
Yeah, I had got a Pontiac. I had got a Malibu, and then I was messing with this dude. I was messing with this dude, and he had like ended up going to prison. But then I had like an old school box Chevy and a Range Rover and a Camaro. Yeah, they was all in my name, so they was mine.
Oh shit!
That way sometimes, you know what I'm saying? A 4-wheeler. I had all types of things. I had all types of assets to play with.
But no money in the bank.
No money in the bank. No money in the bank. I probably maybe had like $300. You know what I'm saying? That ain't no money for real to be making a major life move like the move that I was making.
Yeah.
So I maybe had like $300 to my name at the time.
And this house was did you buy it? Did you buy this
nope,
house?
Nope, it was a rental.
So you rental. Okay. So
I was renting the house, and I chose it because it had a 3-car garage. I had all them cars, so I have moved into a rental. Yeah, I have moved into this two bedroom, 3-car garage having home. This is really an awkward mix, but it's Ohio.
More garages than bedrooms.
Yeah, more garages than bedrooms.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, so you know you got the house. You had to go back to muster. You driving back to work. At this point, you already know you're going to school too?
Yeah, I know that school's starting in like 2 weeks. It's like the first week of August. I know school's starting in like 2 weeks.
Okay. Now when, all right. So a month out the Navy, right? Are you like a month out, that means you 2 weeks into school, you got the house, everything like that, your BH coming. It's never a moment from a month out to whenever. It's never a moment where you like, man, I wish I would have stayed in.
Never a moment where I wish I would have stayed in. Definitely moments where I was missing people that I was used to being around, right? Yeah. Even when I had been in Pax River, even though I didn't really make that many friends in Pax River, I was still real tapped in with my Virginia friends. So I would still be going back and forth. So like I would miss my people. And then, social media coming out and it's getting bigger. So I could see my people on deployment, or I see them having a good time in different countries here and there or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So it would definitely be moments where I would be like missing my homegirls or missing people that I served with, but never a moment where I missed the Navy. I've never had a moment where I was like, I should go back. Even to the point, I had got a job offer. I had got an offer for Navy JAG. I turned them down. That's how much not going back is really on my mind. You know what I mean? But it was never a moment. I felt so free and just liberated. I used to always say I'm up from slavery. Like I'm up from this for real. I start getting my nails done immediately, nice, long, mini colors, flakes. You know what I'm saying? I started letting my hair hang past my collar. I dyed my hair the first day out. Bleached it, did some colorful twisting, whatever.
Yeah.
It used to be oppressing me to death for real. I used to be getting counseling shits at my last command because I used to be failing the bulk test for the hair. I used to have people putting rulers in my head to see if I had more than 2 inches of bulk on my twist out. Like people telling me you're not allowed to have two strand twisted styles. It's got to be 3. Your parts got to be 1/4 of an inch apart. Like the hair regulations was
Yeah.
drowning me.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something crazy though. Like right now, that hair shit is one of the biggest issues in the Navy today.
Because for white women, they get to just let their hair just be. And it's nothing, no problem. But when I let my hair just be, it's a problem. Right? My hair, this isn't my hair just being. This is my hair being tamed down to this, right? My hair just being is not acceptable, but it's acceptable for everybody else.
Yeah.
That's not okay.
Yeah.
And it was very degrading on a regular basis. And when I was going through it, I was getting counseling just all the time. They was talking about masking me about my hair. The only reason I didn't get masked about my hair was because I really pulled their card and made them court-martial me.
Yeah.
Because they was ready to mask me about it. And I was like, y'all don't have to court-martial me. I'm not going to no mask.
Because you was on shore duty, right?
Yep, I'm on shore duty. Y'all going to have to court-martial me. If that's how y'all want to play it in my last 90 days in the Navy, then we gonna have to do it that way. And then I remember they was trying to do other little stuff too, because I was still wearing it how I wanted to wear it every day. They was doing other stuff. They was trying to make me get OC sprayed again. I'm about to get out the Navy. They talking about you got to go through the base armory qualification. For what reason? By the time this class is over, I'm gonna have 15 days left. The only reason it didn't happen and I didn't go through the course and get sprayed again was because the course was overflowing with people and I volunteered to leave. I let them know. I was like, well, I'm getting out the Navy in 4 weeks. So
yeah.
If y'all want, somebody else can have my seat for sure.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be here I'm not even gonna be here for it to be of any kind of use. All right, so we got you. So I got you in school right now, right? You just finished the 2 years, right? So now we're looking at law school, right? Well, you took a year off, and now we're looking at law school, right?
Yep, it's time. 'Tis the season. So my law school process, it was pretty straightforward. I applied to a lot of schools all over the nation, just to see who was going to offer me the most scholarship money. The most scholarship money was coming from Chicago. I really wanted to move to Chicago because, I'm from small town Youngstown, and I had lived in some larger cities, but I never lived in a city before that had like a mass transit system, like mass public transit. And I always wanted to like be catching a train and stuff, like jet setting or whatever. So I was like, oh yeah, I really want to move to a larger city. And I had got into a school in New York, but they really wasn't offering that much scholarship. And it's just so expensive. So I felt like this would be like a nice medium for me. So I ended up going to DePaul University College of Law here in Chicago. It's a Catholic private law school.
How was law school?
You know what? Law school was fun for me. Law school was fun. I think that one of the things, one of the benefits of coming to law school after being in the Navy and having all these life experiences is that nothing is really that serious to me. And I'm really firmly rooted in who I am and what I bring, right? So I never really feel like I need to be in competition with other people or the people that are around me. Another thing is I knew pretty early on in my law school process that I wanted to work for myself, right? And that take a lot of pressure off of you when it comes to competing with other people because you graded on a curve. So everybody trying to, have the highest A in the class or, set the curve and being worried about that. And people flunk out and it's only so many A's and so many B's and so many C's, So when you know that and you know that it's such a limited number and you're being graded against people real hard, it can kind of feel like you're in a pressure cooker for a lot of people. But I never really felt that way. I was always very sharing, like with my outlines and things like that. Like, cause I feel like what God got for me is for me. So if I share my notes with you, that's not going to stop me from getting my A. What if I do this or whatever, it's not going to hold me back from what I'm supposed to have. Even, cause sometimes I still like apply for like positions cause I'm doing well, but there are positions that do way better than what I got going on. And if I could slide into one of them, I'm definitely going to, right? And even in a situation where like myself and another classmate, we both applied for like the same position and she ended up getting the position and I didn't, right? I never like held that against her or felt any type of way towards her about that. And now it's like a full circle moment because they're hiring a trademark associate and she's submitted my resume to them, right?
Okay.
So it's like, is maybe she needed to get it when she got it so that now that it's my time or I think that I do want this, she gonna be able to help me move into this space,
Yeah.
right? If I was being adversarial with her or being snippy with her because I felt like I'm more qualified or whatever the case may be, I wouldn't even have the opportunity for her to be like an advocate for me.
Yeah, you lose that
So
connection.
I think that I've noticed immediately like these are the people that I'm going to law school with that's gonna vouch for me. These are the people that's gonna know me the best as far as my legal capacity and my legal acumen. So I really kind of like want to build and foster relationships with these people. So I never was really like in competition with them. And it really has paid off now in my business because I get so many referrals from so many people that I went to law school with because they're lawyers. So people are calling them for legal things that they can't help them with because they work here or they work
Yeah,
there,
certain.
but they can send them my way. So I get a lot of referrals from a lot of people that I went to law school with. So I'm happy that I wasn't so pressed on being in competition with them or
Nice.
being
So
like nasty.
how long was that? How long was law school for you?
3 years.
3 years. Okay.
3 years. One thing I'll say, I know people say like that it was really hard or whatever. It was not really hard to me. So that's why I always encourage people to go. Like I would not listen to people if they were saying like, oh, it's so hard because it really wasn't that hard. It was actually fairly easy. After I got through that first year where I learned all of the core stuff, the 2 years after that was like a breeze. And to the point I wasn't even buying books. Like my last year of law school, I didn't buy not one book
Yeah.
Mm.
because I wasn't reading them for real. So I was
Yeah,
just
yeah. You
like,
go grab the important parts, like
Yeah.
yeah,
college. Grab. Let's
Yeah.
get like what's important, what I need to know
Yeah.
for this, and you can't read all those books.
Yeah. It's definitely.
It's impossible. That's what I was talking to my wife about. It's impossible to read every book they try to get you to read in college. Like they
okay.
try to get you to read
Especially
16 books in
And
one course or
in
something like
and the
that. It's
internet is
impossible.
crazy right now. Ain't nothing you can't get off the internet, man. Shit.
The internet vicious. You could get the test off the internet.
Yeah.
Quizlet, man. It's
Yeah.
hysterical.
for real.
It's
The
there.
one thing I will say about law school because they definitely be assigning like 200-300 pages of reading a
Yeah,
week
it's
per
crazy.
class. Um, but I will say this: if you got thin skin and you're like easily embarrassed by like
Mm-hmm.
not knowing something, then maybe you do want to go ahead and put that time in and do that work, do that reading. Because me, I'm the type of person I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know today, but I know when it's time for the test, when it really
Mm-hmm.
matters. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So the fact that you just cold called me in this room full of people and I told you I don't have the answer immediately because I want to hurry up and you get to somebody who do have the answer. I'm not embarrassed.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
embarrassed at all. Like, oh yeah, no, I'm not prepared. Oh well, if you look on page such and such, actually I didn't purchase a book.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna be able to flip to that page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you
And
so
I
so
really
so you
like live my life like that.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and that's a good, you're not comparing yourself to nobody, and that's a good thing because comparison is the thief of joy. That's something that my wife says. So comparison is I think I got that on my wall right here. Comparison is the thief of joy. And that's true. I think a lot of our woes come from when we not looking at just our pot and what we got in front of us, but we looking at somebody else's and what they got in front of them. In front of them. That's how I look at quals and stuff like that. When I start to get kind of, it might be a bad way to look at it, but when I start to get discouraged, I'd be like, well, if this person could get it, I could get it. Like we all could get it. Like it's nothing should make you feel like you can't do something because you see something somebody else got. Like what's for you is for you. What's for everybody else is for them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna be the smartest person in the world. I'm not gonna be, I'm who I am. And it's no tears, man. You know what I'm saying, Damon? Like
Yeah.
it's no like nobody's better than nobody else. We all focused on different things and we wanted to do different things. You know what I'm saying? I'm the best version of me. And it's crazy. I was just telling one of my sellers that. But back to you, India. So law school, finish it. Now, what kind of lawyer are you? I know this, but I know the audience doesn't.
So I'm the owner operator of the 7-Eleven Law Group. It's a business and intellectual property law boutique. So
Mm-hmm.
I do copyrights, trademarks, then I do business formation and development. I also do entertainment law, and then I do a wide range of contract work from contract drafting, contract review, contract negotiations, mergers
Yeah.
and acquisitions. So businesses buying businesses, businesses selling businesses, asset security as far as like isolating and getting your business structure in a place so where you can have some businesses fail without other businesses being affected. I do a lot of like legal structuring and protection work.
Yeah.
I think that's it for the most part. I have a legal boutique also, so if you need any like contractor form agreements, you can check out the 7-Eleven legal boutique, and you can download all types of like agreements. It's freebies on there and everything.
So you would be the lawyer that me and Damon needed, pretty much. You the
For
lawyer that we
sure,
Yeah,
need
yeah,
for what we got
for
going
sure,
on.
yeah. Especially, and I,
for
I
sure.
was even thinking about, the alcohol and beverages. What I'm saying, trying to get a license, man. I'm gonna throw that out there.
I do licensing work. I do licensing work. I do marijuana licensing work. I do tobacco licensing work, and I do alcohol licensing work. But I do all three of those only in the state of
Mm-hmm,
Illinois
mm-hmm.
because that's where I'm licensed.
Yeah.
So for those state based things, but for trademarks and copyrights, I practice trademarks and copyrights nationwide.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, we gotta. Yeah, we gonna have to make that phone call. So we got you at uh lawyer now, own firm now, and how is life? How is life?
You know, my life is just so surreal. Like it's so surreal. I'm telling you, coming from where I come from and coming through the things that I didn't came through in my lifetime, I regularly can't believe that this is the life that I live. I'm regularly in shock. When I tell people that I'm an attorney, when I like introduce myself, like it's almost, I don't know, it feels like I'm an imposter. I feel like I truly suffer from imposter syndrome because it's like I truly can't believe that this is how I'm living and I really made it to this place. And at times I don't even know how I made it here. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, so it's really a beautiful thing. I'm probably the most comfortable I ever been in my life. Um like the things that I can afford, the things that I have access to, the people that speak to me, the way that people speak to me, the way people address me when I go places, things of that nature. It's like a level of stature that I could have never imagined. A lot of people, and I think that's what I was always looking for. I would say I became an attorney because I wanted the bag, but I really became an attorney because I wanted power. And everybody that
Mm-hmm.
I know that's powerful as fuck is a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that I know that's super powerful. Like almost every president we done had, every judge, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of like just big movers and players and corporations and industries that really make things happen, they're attorneys. So
Yeah.
I felt like I wanted to have power. I wanted to affiliate and be associated with power because I know that power open doors and it like really, helps you get to where it really help you get the money. When you got the power, sometimes it seemed like you would want the money first so you could have the power, but sometimes you could have the power just from having the notoriety and it could bring the money. So I think that in a roundabout way, it's like all full circle. One thing I say is like, while I never could have imagined that this is what my life would be like, I'm so grateful to the Navy because the Navy really showed me that I could be anything. That's where
Mm-hmm.
I really learned that I could be anything, that I could go from never having gotten my hair wet before to being able to swim, to go from, you know what I'm saying? I never could have in a million years imagined that I was going to be driving the ship or doing small boat evolutions or on rep. I could have never in a million years imagined that I was going to be doing airplane maintenance or running out the flight line, trying to catch birds or do things of that nature. The Navy really showed me that I could really be anything. I could be trained to be anything. And if they can train me to be anything, then I could really be anything that I really want to be for myself. If I could
Yeah.
do it for them, right? Then why can't I do it for me? So I think that that's one of the greatest things. And then also just exposing you to $1 billion systems, to $1 billion business. Because we don't look at it, or at least I didn't look at it like it was $1 billion business when I was in the Navy. But that's really what it is. It's
Yeah.
like $1 billion machine for diplomacy. Like
Yeah.
that's really what it truly is. Like what countries we visit, what countries we don't visit, who we get our supplies from, where we get our food, like the interworkings of that system all serve a greater purpose for this nation, right? And I realized like if you really want to build something, you got to really be focused on the smallest details in the system. So I focus on the details in my own business, making sure that the automation is there. And when somebody signed up for a free phone call, they automatically get a follow-up to remind them to call me. And then after the phone call, they automatically get an invoice and something else so that they can sign up if they want to. You know what I mean? But the Navy put that in my mind to have like that sit rep, that process. You know what I mean? Like, this is our standard operating procedure. This is how we do this. And this is what you can expect every time. It made me want to create a system for myself in a sense. So I definitely don't regret it. I definitely could say that. Never forget that it financed most of this education. And I got colleagues and counterparts that's got $250,000 worth of student loan debt, and I got like 60,000. You know, that's a big, you know what I mean? Like, it's people that's owing so much money. I really don't know that much. You know, like it's working itself out. So I definitely am grateful. And I'm even just like the people, because the people still matter. I still connect with people that I connect with on a regular basis, you know, or like the experiences that we had. Like, even Damo, we had some experiences, like the listening parties.
Oh, you were
Damo,
there? You was at
rapping. He used to be dropping his albums, having us come pick which songs, doing little stuff like.
Y'all did help me pick. Yeah, you did. We did pick the songs
like
out
when we
together.
lived in the PPV. Like, so it was definitely like a camaraderie and stuff like that. People I never forget. I'm always just forever grateful.
Definitely.
But I want other people to know that they could live the same life.
Oh yeah.
Like you can make the same transition if you wanted to. You got everything that you need.
Yeah, we had. I mean, and that's and from basically from our viewpoint, that's the perfect way to, you know, kind of end this conversation. I hope we can have another one soon. But it is a couple things I want to finish off with. The first one is: there anything else that you want to say?
I don't think so. No, follow me on the gram. That's what I want to say. So you can find me. You can find me. Let me give people my deets, right? So you can follow me professionally at 711_law_group. So that's 711 Law Group with the underscores in between. You can follow me personally at the Professional Hood Rat Esquire. And it's underscores in between those two. So it's like the _professional_hood rat _ESQ. So you can catch me in any of those places. And I'm available. Click the link in my bio if you want to talk. I'm available for people that want to talk about transitioning out of the military. You know, I got time. Just schedule a free call.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. That's young women. If y'all need somebody to talk to, y'all confused. Even some of the young, any of y'all really, if y'all need somebody to talk to, y'all confused, definitely hit her up. She will. I know that for sure. If you've been listening, you should know that too. So, you know, definitely reach out, get in contact. If you got any questions, you're nervous, you're scared, you know, stuff like that. So, I mean, Damon, you got anything?
Yeah, I want to thank you for coming on the pod. You know, it's one of those things, man, that I'm looking forward to. And I think I'm looking forward to that book. You know, you get that book, you got a story. So, you know, why not let people hear it, you know? So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I'm going to write a book. I am going to write a book. I'm working on it. I'm definitely, I've started the book. It's just started the book, started the business, starting to talk a little bit, you know?
Most definitely.
Yeah. I also, you know, can't wait. I also thank you. But before we do leave, before we finish, I almost forgot. We got a book. So, you know, every, you know, episode we do, and I'm gonna make mine real fast. I'm not even gonna really get into it. Damon, do you have a book this week?
No.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm not gonna get into it at all really too much because I want to get, you know, a book from you. But mine is, I'm reading the Will Smith book, right? So for everybody that think I'm just out here hating Will Smith all the time, I spent $19.99. What's up, man? What's the
No. Go ahead, man. Do your thing, man.
What's up? I spent $19.99 on a book written by Will Smith and narrated by Will Smith, and I damn near ain't make it through the prelude, man. I damn near ain't make it through the intro because he was calling his dad Daddy-O, and I never heard a man from Philly call their dad Daddy-O. And I almost ain't make it through, but I found out that was a thing, an old school thing in Philly. Cause I'm like, Daddy, what is this dude talking about? But I found out that was an old school thing in Philly. So I'm midway. I'm not even midway. I'm reading another book right now. It's about like slavery or something. But so when I finish that book, I'm gonna get back to the Will Smith book, and I'm gonna let everybody know how the Will Smith book is. But before we finish this off, India, you got any book suggestions, any recommendations?
So I think that if you trying to think about ways to like, I don't know, secure your own wealth no matter where you are in life, one book that I strongly recommend is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And he talks about, just really making yourself responsible for generating your own wealth and taking that power out of the hands of corporations and your boss, not being reliant on them to make you a millionaire. That's one book. And then another book that I would recommend to my business owners, right? Or people that want to be about business, that want to create their own businesses, whether you want to open your own law firm one day or you just want to start a business in any variety, any industry, is the Apple experience. And the Apple experience is just all about creating an undyingly loyal fan base and customer experience, right? To make people purchase your product even when it's inferior, to make people, you know what I'm saying, flock to you even when you're flawed. So I think that that's a really good book for somebody that's looking to start a business or somebody that's really just looking to build their own brand as a person. Because in this industry, in this society that we live in today, everybody really has the opportunity to be an influencer in their own right, to build their own brand in their own right, and to like really tap in and make money in a lot of different fun, creative ways. And I think that the book, The Apple Experience, really highlights how small little tweaks in your business or in your lifestyle can make you more marketable.
Mm-hmm. Hey,
Nice.
so thank you. I appreciate
Thank
you. I
you.
appreciate your strength. I appreciate your fearlessness. I appreciate the fact that you know who you are, and I've, from what I've seen and from what I've heard so far, that you have not bent on that who you are. You know what I'm saying? So if you got to fight for that, you will. Um, I appreciate you for being a guest on our podcast, just like Damon said. And I'm watching. I'm looking forward. I mean, we might be talking to you offline about something real serious soon, but I'm watching. I'm looking forward to it. So thank you one more time.
Most definitely.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. Again, you can find me at 711 Law Group, and you can check out my business and my website at www.711lawgroup.com.
Thank you. And
Deuces.
that's that.